Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is the first calf update in, gosh, we had 2 weeks off. Lots and lots and lots of things have gone on since that last calf update. But yeah, and many of you experienced some of those things as well. We'll talk about OAX a little bit tonight, and we've got Hakes on here. I've got a page I love segment. I've got some packages to open, some art to show off, and yeah, a lot of things going on. But uh, as I just saw Dan Tancredi mentioned in the chat, where was that? Congrats to Derek Crabb for his post-credit scene on today's Comics Den video. I have not seen that yet, but Comics Den has done a wonderful job promoting OAX. They documented it really well. They got to come in during setup, and they stayed all the way to the end, and they pretty much filmed every aspect of the show, and parts of the show that none of us even got to see have been out there. So I'll take a look and see the Derek Crabb segment on their video today. But uh, many other videographers obviously have posted a lot of great stuff. So if you're not following Comics Den, you should do that. Spidey Hits. Then I'm blanking on some of the card art guys that are out there, but they've been posting a lot of stuff as well. Sick says Kazra, he knows, and he'll put some names to those other channels out there in the chat throughout the night. Channels that you guys should be following and subscribing to anyway, because not only do they cover the things that we do around here really well, but they also put out some great content too. But Swaggle House was there too as well. I think he had two videos, if I'm not mistaken. Carl put a great recap out there. Carl's collection hanging out here with us this evening. He had a good recap, talked about some of the pieces that he picked up as well. I saw that one, watched that the other night. And yeah, so let's get this thing on the road. Oh, and I see Jason's in the chat. Jason, I promise you I will send you at least two of those emergency exit signs. I promise I will pack them up for you, and I get them out to you next week. Just I'll need to get your mailing address. I don't think I've ever sent you anything before. So, anyways, we're going to start the show off tonight with Hakes. I've got one of the gentlemen from Hakes that wasn't at OAX, so he got to miss out on all the fun. So let me bring in Alex Winter. Hey, Alex.
What's
Man,
going
look at
on?
it. I mean, I can't get over the lighting in that room, man. You are you're stepping out of the '60s tonight.
I had it on a strobe mode, but it seemed like it would probably be too distracting. So we just went with a little purple mood lighting for us tonight.
Well, you are a fan of Prince, as I recall,
Correct.
so that would fit right into your sweet spot then. So that's yeah, no, but so you did miss out. I mean, I told you, you would have been the life of the party had you been there. But what did the guys say when they came back from OX?
They'll never do it again. No, they loved it. I knew. Look, first of all, as we talked, before the segment started, we got a lot going on. We had an auction that had just ended, Jeff Jacob action figure auction.
Hmm.
That Friday of OEX, we had this auction that we're going to talk about launch, and at the same time, we're working on our March catalog premiere auction. So to give up three guys, was not an easy thing. I could not have been one of those three. I had to be at home base, but the guys loved it. We had a great response to our booth. We were able to bring some really special art, which we will mention briefly tonight. We'll talk about down the road. But yeah, it sounds like it was even better than last year, not just for us, but for everyone. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we've heard nothing but positive things from the show. I didn't get the chance to talk to Hicks other than that one incident on Saturday, but yeah, it was funny. Everybody talks about how it's a small show and everything, but it's amazing how many people were there that I might have saw once and then didn't see again or never saw at all. Like, a couple collectors I saw right at the beginning of the show, maybe in passing in the hallway, or because they lined up early. Rich Cirillo, a good friend of mine, he actually was lined up early. We moved them all inside so they didn't have to stand out in the cold weather, and I talked to him briefly. I never saw him again.
Mm.
It's like, and that was with 2 full days of the show, so it's pretty amazing that a show of that size can just generate that much. Just there's so many things to do in a
Sure.
small amount of time
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
OX.
And you say 2 days, but 2 days go by pretty quickly too with all the activity and things. So yeah. No, it would have been great for the guys to see you more, but we'll put FaceTime in throughout the year and next year we'll be back. So
That's true. Hopefully it'll work for you that next time. We are switching the dates a little bit. I don't know if you heard that, but
no.
we are moving into February for the third weekend in February next year. It's going to be the 20th through the 22nd. So that's
Yeah, that actually, th- again, it depends on how we map out. If we keep to the same schedule, that plays nicely. If we don't, uh, we'll see. But it's too early for me to even think about that. We're
put
already
it on your
2 months in with two
calendar.
auctions in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So at
yeah, for
least
sure. Oh no, it'll be on the calendar, but yeah, to map out the schedule, especially with our big wrinkle this year is this Jeff Jacob action figure collection, in that's probably adding three cataloged auctions on top of three regular cataloged auctions on top of three online only auctions. So we got to play throughout the year to see what's going to happen come next year. But we'll
all
be there
right.
no matter what, whether that's me or someone else. Uh, you got us for life. So
Well, we appreciate that. It was great having Hicks be a sponsor of the show, and yeah, again, it just shows that I think a lot of people really believe in what we're doing over there, and it's working. It really is working well. I heard pretty much any of the vendors that I got the chance to talk to, they all did really well. And again, I hope Kate, you guys picked up some consignments. There's always a few people that show me stuff and ask me where they should consign it, and there was one gentleman that brought in. Um, some artwork that had kind of a historical nature to it, and I think tied in with some toy stuff. And they asked, who would you recommend? And I said, well, I recommend them all, but if I were you, I would start with Higgs.
no,
So,
that's cool.
I mean, it's good to fit the right items with the right with the team that's going to sell them best. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always
Well,
tried to
look,
prepare that way.
our thing is twofold too. Yes, getting consignments, but other thing is just promoting auctions, and we were able to put items in our booth and in our showcases for not only the auction we're going to talk about, but for the March auction. So that's just as important as anything.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Uh, all right. Well, why don't we? What you're here to do tonight is we're going to preview some of the items that you have in the current auction, and because I know it's underway, and I think it ends next Wednesday. Is
Next
that correct?
Wednesday. Yeah. So I'll preface this by saying this is one of our what we call collector friendly events, right? Everything starts at $9.99. Most items will sell under 500. Lots of things sell between $50 and $200. So while it's great to have the 5 and the 6 and the 7-figure auction results, and we love to promote things of that nature, reality is most collectors don't have that kind of disposable income. So when we are able to, in between our premier auctions, offer items of this level, we love to do it. So while we have 100 pieces of original art or kind of related things, artist signed pieces, we have graded Pokemon cards and sports cards, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 CGC comics, and as always, action figures, superhero toys. So sort of a mimics our cataloged auction, just in the format of more affordable items in those different categories.
Makes sense. So why don't we take a look at the set that you sent me today? Got a few things here. So I know that we're kind of starting off with some Romita Senior Spider-Man dailies. That's right.
Yeah. So these are from the Gary Guzzo collection. We've had some in the last two
Mhm.
cataloged auctions, and we decided to put three in this format and see how they do. These are sort of our premier pieces for this online auction. Um, all three are great. All three have Spider-Man content. All are from 1980. And like I said, all of these started at $9.99. I think they're somewhere now in the 800 to 900 range. Um,
And
yeah,
880 on that one, 990 on this one. Yeah, that's a good one.
and these in our last couple catalog auctions, they've sold anywhere between about 2,300 and I think one peaked about 12,000, and that was one of the best that we had content wise. So I think all of these are probably in that 2,000 range, but those in the catalog auction started at 1,000. So again, these started lower and have taken off, within the first couple weeks of the auction.
So when you do a 999 start point on these things, do you find the bidding action to be a little bit more robust than when you started at 1,000 or something?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And anytime we start things lower, there's always more bidders. It's just in the cataloged auction, we sort of do things in scale of our value codes, and on this format, we just kind of let it ride at 9.99.
Oh, very good. So you got three of these in here, and all, like you said, they're all, well, a couple in the 800s and the other in around 900. Then what do we got next? It was a Teen Titans. What do we got? Barretto page. That's right.
Yeah, so this is a splash. It's from the classic Wolfman run. As far as a writer, we just don't have the tag team of Perez on this. We have Eduardo. But a very interesting, cool splash page. You have the Titans jet, and then you have a team member of the Hybrids, which was a supervillain team that was introduced in this issue, and this is Pterodon. So if you're a Pterodon fan, this is obviously the page for you.
Oh, very nice. Do you know how many pieces of original art you have in the current?
Yeah, it's right around 100, a little over 100. That includes original art and then some artist signed things like a Jack Kirby print, things of that nature. But it's somewhere north of 100.
Okay, cool. Then you got an Archie. Is this a complete issue? I didn't even read the title on that
Yeah,
one.
this is a complete
Yeah.
5-page story, 1979. Nice content. Again, you've got Archie, you got Jughead, you got Mr. Weatherby, you have some other characters in this. So a nice complete story.
Very good. It's got a few bids on it already, and then we got 3 more pieces here from the set today. You're being very selective tonight.
Well, yes. I mean, this is not the normal hour and a half marathon Hakes auction review. I don't have the amazing zoo crew along with me, right? No Sean, no Todd, no Kelly. So I just want to get the word out that this auction is going on. We'll have plenty of time down the road to really kind of wax poetic about what's going to be in the March auction.
Right. So you got a Keith Given DC Comics Presents page here.
Yeah, pretty cool page. Creeper getting shot. So again, as I keep saying with all the other pieces in here, nice, affordable, just a wide selection of art of all eras, artists. We have some syndicate art. We have comic book art published. We have sketches, commissions, specialty pieces.
Very good. And then let me see here. So some coloring book, all right. Or color and paint by number, 43 pieces in the whole set.
Yeah, so this is Superman Whitman coloring book from '66, and then we also have a lot for a similar Batman paint and color book. This one has 43 pieces. The Batman lot has 23 pieces, but all original black and white line art from these published books. So a nice mix of characters, heavy on Superman, obviously, for the Superman book, but with some other related characters. The Batman lot is heavy on Batman and Robin, but with some villains as well. But a nice way to pick up a pretty big batch of art that's all, pretty cool published art. It's just published in a paint book, coloring book versus a comic book.
Mm-hmm. And what was the last one? Oh, that's right. You had a Ken Kelly prelim from a John Carter Warlord of Mars piece. That's nice.
Yeah, this is, a cool character-driven piece. It is just a preliminary, so if you can't afford a full-fledged Ken Kelly painting, this is still a nice, semi-realized piece, and for obviously a very popular character. And I did want to show this, and this segues then into the March auction, because they are not in our possession yet, but we're about to hopefully acquire 3 or 4 Ken Kelly pieces that are published for the March auction, including a couple album covers. So this is just sort of a precursor to what hopefully you will see in March.
Oh, well, that'll be cool. I would assume those would be pieces we get to talk about in a Hakes exclusive
For
preview,
sure.
right?
Yeah, we were hoping to have them for OEX. It didn't work out. We're now hoping to have them for this auction. I usually don't like to say anything until it arrives, because anything could happen. But the last I heard from Kelly, it was about to happen. So, but if not, what we are about to preview here will be in that March auction and will be on the show with the full crew.
Yeah, these pieces were great. I mean, they really stand out. I thought really nice. You guys had a good display case this year.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I thought the Star Wars art would steal the show, and while it was um, viewed heavily, Kelly said that the real winner this time was the Aurora box art here.
Yeah, no, without question. I didn't look at a lot. I mean, you guys were in the booth next to our auction booth, so I got to see these up close. But they were really really nice and a lot larger than what I would have expected them to be.
And that's why we have this kind of to scale. Yes, this is way bigger than the box art. So uh, the Captain America is even larger than the Hulk, but both, as you can see next to the box lids themselves, this is big, bold, colorful art. Captain America has never been attributed to any specific artist, but the Hulk has, and that is Neil Adams.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Kavi says it was a cool display as well. Yeah, it was. It was good. I
Yeah,
mean, again,
thank you.
it's nice getting to see the art presented in under display cases. I mean, it feels like just it feels a little classier. And we upped our game in a lot of ways at the show with different displays. We had those pro panel walls for some of the booths, and we were so it's always good to have both our exhibitors and some of the artists and reps kind of taking advantage of the better display options that we've got for the show. And what do we got here? This is Star Wars art you were talking about?
Yeah, so we have a killer page from the first Marvel adaptation, issue number one, the first of the 6 issue adaptation by Howard Chaykin. Then we have a page from issue 5, also adaptation issue. And then we have 2 Star Wars Weekly, the UK publication, 2 covers, one from the adaptation. In the UK, the adaptation ran 8 issues versus 6, and some of the cover art overlapped, but the trash compactor scene that we have, that was unique to the UK run. So these are, I think we have at least 2 more pieces of Star Wars art as part of the March auction, but these are the 4 premier that we all got from one collection, all recently discovered, previously unknown, first time at auction.
Very nice. And then we have this one last slide.
And then just 3 other random pieces, 2 Marvel covers, a great Captain America color piece by Simon. So again, just a little bit of a teaser. I won't go into too much because we'll set up our full-fledged show shortly for the March auction. But all of this stuff will be in auction 243, which goes online March 4th.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And we haven't set a date yet, I think, for that preview. So maybe this weekend or something we can pick a date.
That's fine. Look, I'm still getting caught up as we talked about. You're getting caught up. So yeah, just so anytime after the 4th, the week or 2 after that, shoot me some dates that work for you. We'll line it up, and I'll make sure that the whole team is with us. And I will probably not be in my music room for that. I'll be in my office and have some art set up around me. But for today, it was sort of a purple night in the record room.
Nothing wrong with that. I've kind of got, I don't know, it's close, but it's not quite like yours. But no, that'll be cool. Make sure Sean's there. It's always a fun show when we have Sean on as a guest with you guys.
He's always invited. He just doesn't always show up. And sometimes when he is on the show, he doesn't show up. So
I was gonna say probably the same thing could be said with him, just in general work situations. But
you got it.
no, we love Sean. He's
Yeah.
I've known him a long time. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But Alex, again, you were missed, and I hope things can work out next year. If they don't, I'll take the zoo crew in lieu of having you down there. But you're always welcome, and you definitely you missed out on something good. But I'm glad that the team had a good show.
Good. Yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, well, I'll do my best to get there. But like I said, Hakes is there every year, no matter what. So
All right. Well, listen, Alex, thanks again, and we'll be in touch. And if you need anything in the meantime, let me know. I'm sure.
sounds good.
I think I owe you a mailing. I think for as a reminder for this auction before it ends
Yeah.
on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hit
that'd
me
be
up
good.
with that. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Appreciate
Have a
you.
good night, Alex.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Yeah, so everything's their setup was really nice. And the Aurora models I saw Carl mentioned too, the pieces were really vibrant. They were impossible to miss because when you were walking down kind of our Killers Row at OAX, The Hakes booth was right at the end of that. So you couldn't miss it. And those, Sarah Jane was always talking about yellow on book covers as being an attractant, while those two Aurora model paintings had, all that yellow on them. You just could not miss them. So anybody walking down the aisle definitely got to see them. So yeah, so that's one thing in the books. I saw people talking about OEX in the chat while we were discussing other stuff here with Alex. And one thing was we were hoping to have Bob Layton on tonight, but he's having some travel issues. He filmed some special stuff for us while he was on the floor, and I guess we'll be looking at that next week. So I didn't have any OEX related video stuff to present to you guys tonight. So I asked Matt Sardo if he had anything that he could hand over to me, whether it was completely polished or rough or whatever, just so I could have something to show off tonight. And let's see, I see Robert's asking us, what are the OAX poker chips for? Those are just for fun, Roberto. You'd almost have to ask Jeff Wedding about that one, because he's the one who kind of came up with the idea for the poker chips. We've been doing them as kind of giveaways on the live streams for a while now. I think Jeff Wedding was always responsible for those. Even back in the early days of Dueling Dealers, there were some Dueling Dealers poker chips printed out that had like Mike on the back of one or Anthony on the back of another, and I think I was on the back of some. And then the poker chip idea, and Wood Jeff's in Vegas, so that just kind of carried over into to OAX. So in the first OAX, we had poker chips that were donated by Jeff, and then we got a whole other set. So it's it's just one of the fun things we do that is a tradition around here. Just like people who are just attending the show printing up their own fun stickers that everybody gets. We did have a lot. Well, we did. No, Marcus. We had our own cameras running. In fact, if you were following like some of the shorts that were posted to YouTube during the show, those were done by both Gwen and our friend Lorna, and with Ashton editing and posting those. So we were shooting video. Matt Sardo was shooting video. That's why I asked Matt. It's just we haven't put any of our own videos up yet. Big Phil was there, and I don't think he's posted his work yet. But Big Phil was everywhere, filming just about everything. He was in the special galleries a lot. So yeah, we're all looking forward to seeing what he puts out there. So no, we weren't relying on anybody in particular. But the thing is, we were well covered. That's the thing. Stingray says his interview never made it up. Well, we'll see. It's probably still out there, Stingray. It definitely, I guarantee it. I mean, there's a lot of material that has not gotten shown off. But anyways, back to Matt Sardo. I asked him about 4 hours before the show if he had anything. So he threw together a bunch of small clips. Most of them, if I had to guess, the question was, what was your favorite part of the show? So these were questions probably asked several attendees as well as artist guests who were there. And, that was the question. Memorable moments from the weekend. And so this is nice. It's not a finished piece, but it's something that you guys can, especially those of you who weren't there, get a taste for some of the comments and the excitement surrounding OAX. So here you go.
Stories. It's been a great weekend, man. There's way too many stories, but one of the coolest ones was yesterday. Well, from last year, there was a gentleman who was the underbidder on my auction piece, and he came back this year, and I had an X-Men piece up for sale. And he was like, hey, this is a bargain compared to like what I was gonna pay at auction. We bought it, and then at the auction last night, he ended up winning my auction piece as well. Swung by in the morning, we took pictures. Just a cool experience with people, and it's like little moments like that I love about the show, man.
An opportunity to talk to a collector that I've known just online for the past couple of years. We were able to sit down at dinner on Friday night and had an awesome conversation about movies and music, and that's why I come to these things, is to be able to sit down and talk with like-minded people. So that was awesome. That same person bought a page from a Hideshi Hino manga called Baby Frankenstein, and I'd never seen Hideshi Hino in person, so to be able to see that artwork up close was incredible. That was really cool.
My favorite memory from the weekend at the actual convention. Well, I mean, you know what? That's got to be having Bart Sears come over from his booth to Albert Moy's booth and reuniting him with his original cover for Turok #1. which is one of the greatest, the highest selling books in all of comics.
Meeting the sketch card collector community for the first time. I've been doing commissions for them for the past decade or so, and it was so weird because we would communicate online, but I've never met any of them since the other day. And when I met them at the penthouse that night, I was so surprised because like around 90% of them were all my previous clients, and it was like it was a thing. Like there was this. I was joking with my wife on the phone afterwards. Like I've never felt this celebrated before because they've all been my clients before, and they have like each of them have a PJ story. So yeah, it was so funny. It was so amazing, and it was very warm, very welcoming, and yeah, at the auction yesterday, there was a piece with Spider-Man like spinning Ralph from The Simpsons around. It was a small colored piece, but because it was so funny, I remember people were going into a bidding war over it. It was hilarious. Yeah.
This year I graduated to intermediate collector, so I'm very proud of myself. I actually got a small Mannix as a gift from Jeff Wedding. Thank you, Jeff. And I actually got my first commission from Brian Selfreeze, and it's going to be Ella Fitzgerald, and I'm really excited for it to come back.
Have you seen some good art?
I've seen great art.
That's like blown you away.
Amazing
What
art.
is that art?
All of it. Well, we just got back from a talk in the Black Collectors section, and there was some great art from basically everybody. And then there was also some fantasy covers. Those were really amazing to see, some oil paintings. So pretty much everybody and everything is great. That's what I love so much about this place is just there's all different styles. Whatever you like, there's going to be something there.
So far, it's been great. I would say hanging out with new people and old friends that I haven't seen in a while, like Paulo Rivera. I haven't seen him almost in 10 years, and it's just great hanging out with him. I've been humiliated. I've been humbled and humiliated by all the awesomeness around me. I'm just humbled just to be here. So yeah, if I have to isolate, like Simone's artwork, I mean, I can see it from here. I'm just crying in pain, in jealousness.
I think my favorite part so far has been getting to hang out, meet a lot of people that I've talked to online, seen their names, but have never met in person. That's probably been my favorite part. It's a great social aspect. Some incredible art. We're standing in a room with some incredible art. Painted art, card art, comic art. I think there was the ASM 298 McFarlane cover. It was pretty cool to see in person. So, lots of stuff. There's so many things.
There you go. So that's a rough cut, but again, I think everybody recognized most of the people in that video. So, but I mentioned PJ was set up in the CAX room, and you got Aranga in there getting things started off for everybody, and Marco Rudy, who everybody really who took the chance with Marco to get a pre-OAX. I think everybody walked away really happy. I got to see a lot of those as they were getting created. Tyler T, Daryl R. I mean, there were several really incredible pieces, but yeah, it was a great show, and the artwork was that was done for the pre-OAX commissions were fantastic. I mean, I think we'll be probably talking a bit about that and how well we really felt the pre-OAX went in the next week or two. But it was something that it was just great to see so many great pieces of artwork created specifically thanks to the show. Adam Hughes' work was fantastic. I saw some of the pieces that Bart Sears did. I mean, you name it, those take-home pieces were great. Pat Broderick did phenomenal work, and again, it's just a testament to the show and the fact that the artists want to try to do their best work for it. So again, thank you to everybody who participated in an interview there. I don't know what that was, Carl, exactly. But yeah, that was George there right at the end, Stephen. So, but yeah, I saw, what did I see in there? I saw Jason talking about the best of stuff. Yes, it is linked in the top menu. I saw you say something about one of the links or something isn't working quite right. I'll have to take a look and see what might be going wrong there. Oh, I see what you mean. It's like linking over to the 2023. Well, at least the first 3 vote counts are on there. I'll take a look at that tomorrow. Probably was me. I had Maureen tally all the votes, but then I had to go in and change some of the parameters in the pages and the queries, so I might have missed something. But yeah, the best of results. If anybody wasn't watching the show on Wednesday, that was it was a lot of fun. We had a nice chat with Joe and Nadia to get everything started off with, and just fun presentation. We got to have some of the award winners join us. If you didn't watch the show, please go back and watch the show on Wednesday. And tomorrow, after I figure out what I did wrong on that page, go to the best of 2024 winners, which is underneath the galleries menu on CAF. Towards the bottom of that sub menu, it says best of 2024. So that's where they're at, and it was a good show. It's the one thing that, well, it's funny. I used to always say that's we only had one event 4 years ago when we started doing those things live, and now we have so many events. It's not even funny. But anyways, so there's that. So Jason, I'll make sure I get that fixed for everybody tomorrow. What else we got? Oh, I was gonna, well, what do we got here? I was going to show off, since we're talking OAX, I did get a few things from it. I ran into Steve-O, our good friend Steve-O. He always has a nice booth set up over there. He was with Michael Lovitz. He told me he mailed me something, and so I'm opening it right now. This was, he wanted it to be there before OAX, and it wasn't, but it was here when I got back home from the show. So I've been sitting on it a while, since this is our first show since then. What we got here? All right, he says, hi, Bill. Thanks for another great OAX. He sent this before OAX, I guess, but knew it was going to be great. As a thank you, here's a Cyclops sketch by Daryl Banks. All right, I don't think I have anything by Daryl Banks, but there you go. Look, my first Daryl Banks, and it's a good one. Classic Cyclops pose, right? We'll see what Marcus says, but yeah, that's great. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. It is nice thing, right? I did get a few other things. I did pick up, Nick Patera. He when he was there the last 2 years, and he said some really nice things online after the show, and we had a great talk towards the end of the show on Sunday. And I had missed picking up the Axe Wilder John book last year when I was there. I never wanted to order it, and I wanted to get it direct from him. So I did pick up one of his sketched versions of the book, and I got that at OAX. So that's an OAX pickup for me. And I have actually another piece by Nick, but not a colored piece. So I'm really happy to have that. And I still haven't read it yet, but it's going to get read this weekend. Other than that, I could say, as everybody knows, I picked up a few pieces at the auction, and I didn't win this one by Joe, but what happened was the gentleman who won it and knew that I had been wanting to get a Linsner Dawn, and so he offered to let me take it over with the bid that won it. So I was fortunate enough to pick that up. So very happy. I have other stuff by Joe, but never a Dawn piece, and so it had always been on my list. We do those art sale shows with him. He hasn't brought a Dawn piece since the first show we did with him. So that was 3 years ago, and I've been waiting for one ever since to kind of jump in and buy it. And so now I got my own. Yeah, I don't know about that, Derek. Let's not say anything to Maureen about anything with the skulls on there. But what else did I get? Oh, of course, I really like this piece by John Amore, and John Amore, of course, did really well in the mystery sketch category from the best ofs on Wednesday night. So, I think, this is right where it belongs. Bill guilts people. I don't guilt anybody, Marcus. I just say things. I don't know. And then the piece that everybody was always, wondering who was going to win that one. Well, here you go. It's in my possession, not Kazra's. But the funny story behind this was we had nothing to do with Josh Cassara making this artwork. He sent the scan in, and everything was coming into Tatiana, myself, and Kazra. And so he sends this in as his auction piece, and we were like, is this a joke? Is there a reason did you do this because you wanted to make kind of light of both our loves for these two characters? And Josh just said it's the way he always draws MODOK when asked. So there you go. Steve, I love it too. And it's got the OAX coming off the bottom. This will get framed and will end up on the back wall. Actually, you know what? I'm in luck. I actually took home several of the frames that were in the special galleries, so I should be able to frame this without having to buy anything. So yeah, so that was a good one. And then What else did I got? I got a Lonegren Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was a pickup or a purchase I did right before. Well, actually, I did this in December, and then I had the artist bullpen bring it to OAX to deliver it. It was when they were doing that 40% off or 30% off sale on their website right before Christmas. So very happy to have this one. I know Carl had his eye on it. I thanked him, or he thanked me for sparing him spending the money on it. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes. We as collectors. Oh, I gotta show this one too. This was a pre-OAX piece from Mr. Wayshak, and look at that. That is just so darn awesome. John, he had to turn down some of the pre-OAX commissions he got because he got so many. And again, you see the work that John does. There's no question why he's so in demand at OAX and the shows that he gets to go to. He's just an incredible talent, and he gives it his all. And he genuinely wants you to be happy with the pieces. I mean, he literally shows it to you and says that if you don't like it, you don't have to pay for it. And I mean, I can't imagine one person looking at something that John would do that you've commissioned him to do and turning him down and saying that you didn't like it. I mean, I just can't see that happening. But John's just one hell of a nice guy and super talented. And if you get the chance to get anything from John, I highly encourage it because again, and this is done on like on a heavy board. I mean, he probably needs that as a base for the amount of work he puts into these pieces. It is electric. I completely agree. I got some other stuff, but I don't need to show that off tonight. But yeah, it was a good OAX for me in general as well. Very it's always good to pick up art at the show, and it was a lot of fun just seeing some of the people who and what they got posted after the show. You look at Kopecky. He almost picked up 100 pieces while he was at the show. We're gonna need a trophy for that one day. But yeah, very, very, very great show, I think, for everybody. I talked to a lot of the artists after the show. I talked to a few of the dealers. Everybody, said that they had just a all around great show. I mean, I know we talk about the social aspect of the show, which honestly, we can say it. That is one of the best things about OAX. But the wonderful thing and the thing that really separates OAX from just pretty much any other show out there is that everybody who attends, who's exhibiting, does really well too, and has a great time. And that's what it's all about. Coming home with art, being a great patron of the arts, and supporting the artists that are there. It's a great feeling to be a part of the team that gets to pull this off every year. Best OAX ever, says Dave Kopecky. Now, I gave Dave a stack of art because he did get some stuff from one of the sales shows before that. But still, Dave had, I don't know how many portfolios Dave had to take back with him, but it had to have been at least one more than he left with. So yeah, Carl's already throwing down the gauntlet. If you don't come back with 100 pieces, Dave, you have failed. Right. No, I get it. I get it. Because I do believe Dave was, he probably had the most pieces in year one. I think it was like over 50. And speaking of OAX, don't tell Maureen, but I finally was unpacking today. Found a Coca-Cola in my backpack. So I'm having a Coke tonight instead of Zevia. Again, don't tell my wife. Oh, that's good. All right. So we have a few videos we can play tonight. I've got a Page I Love segment that Kevin Sharp gave me. Gosh, he gave it to me in early January, and we were not able to squeeze it in. So I missed being able to promote a Kickstarter that Terry Moore had going on. He had that great covers Kickstarter. I think he had 300 different Strangers in Paradise covers that he'd put in this book that looked fantastic, and it just never worked out for me to get it in there. But I know I put in the mailing out today that you can kind of click over and still see Terry Moore's Kickstarter and stuff, and that isn't the reason it kind of fit in. It just so happened that that's when Kevin Sharp was interviewing him. But again, a good interview here. So this is Terry Moore talking about a page he loves from Charles Vess, and the story around it's really good. It's the page he's talking about is from a complete story that he picked up at San Diego in one of his first visits as an exhibitor to San Diego. So let's hear from Terry and Kevin about a page that he loves.
Hello, Comic Art Live. Welcome back to A Page I Love. This is Kevin Sharp. I'm joined today by writer and artist Terry Moore, creator of Strangers in Paradise, of course, and also has a new art book out that we will circle back to at the end. Terry, you have a Comic Art Fans gallery, so I won't say welcome to Comic Art Fans, but I'll say welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be talking about art.
You're going with a well-known series, but it's an interesting kind of, I almost want to say a deep dive underneath the umbrella of a big name comic book. You own this entire short story, so please tell us the series we're talking about today.
Okay, what I have in front of me today is a page of original art from Charles Vess, and it's from Sandman number 62. It's an 8-page story in the middle of that issue. It's one of those amazing things. I was only my second year at San Diego. It was like 1995 or 96. My wife was with me. Set up next to us was Charles Vess. He had just finished the story. I guess it had come out within the previous 12 months, and it was gorgeous. And my wife has a real eye for art. And she said, Charles, I want to buy these. And he offered her a super low price right away because they had become fast friends. And she said, no, leave them here on the table. And if they don't sell, I'll buy them. So at the end on Sunday evening, when we were all packing up, she went over. My goodness, those pages were still there. That's how we got these pages, right from the source. They never hit the public market. Robin grabbed them before they went anywhere. They went straight from Charles's portfolio and Neil's hands to her hands.
Because the audience that is listening to us right now is made up of comic art collectors, I have to put you on the spot. In case you remember, what was the price tag on these pages?
There's going to be a lot of screaming. Here comes the screaming.
Everybody in this hobby has a thick bark, so I think we're ready.
Charles had them marked for $150 a page. He offered them to Robin for $100 a page. She said, no, I have to pay your asking price. I can't do that to you. He was in his prime. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this page in particular was not because of the wonderful opportunity to get them, but they're stunning. The penmanship is unbelievable. There's no cross-hatching, but there's complete tone of light and shadow. And unfortunately, if you've only seen the comic, you haven't seen this art.
You know, it's interesting. Looking back at this story for the first time in years, this strikes me almost like pages from I don't want to say a children's storybook dropped into the middle of a comic book. What is it about this particular page that you responded to?
It's Charles's portrayal of form, light and shadow without any hard lines. There's not a single hard line anywhere in this page. The trees are not straight lines drawn with a micron or a fat line drawn with a brush. This is a super fine pinpoint. I think it's a Hunt 102. And he took his time and did short strokes and built it up just like nature. So his ink work is a lot like the molecular structure of all this organic stuff in the picture, where it's a bunch of short little things that flow in a common direction to make a form and a flow and a wave. And whether it's thick or light depends on how the light hits it. If you look at the ground, the shadow of the trees, the dark spot on the ground is not formed with an ink brush or splats of black. It is the thin lines crossing over each other thick enough to get the shadow. That's exactly how nature works. It's not a cartoon rendering or a 2D rendering or a mirror rendering. He's really kind of taken his shoes off, put his feet on the earth, and started portraying these organic shapes with organic type lines. If you look at the little leaves on the vines and up in the tree, and then the vine that crawls up in there, look at the shading from the dark side of the tree to the light side of the tree. And then, and the back of the man is all formed with those kind of same strokes. There is a little bit of cross-hatching in there, but mostly it's all directional line work. And if you look past the shadow of where the man stands and look across the river there, you see the light where the light hits the other side. And it's brilliant. It pops because of the shadow that Charles put into the foreground. Unfortunately, he turns it over to a comic book company in the mid 90s, and they flat color it like it's 1962. So it's got horrible colors. And when it's printed, in that printing process back in the day with the newsprint paper, it all blocked up. So when you look at it on the comic book page, it's not at all impressive. It looks like, oh, yeah, I know a lot of people that can draw that. But when you look at the original art, you go, oh, no, hell, that's Charles Vess.
What was the order? Reading Sandman or seeing the art in the portfolio first?
I seen the art in the portfolio. I was just gobsmacked. I had never been exposed to great illustrator art before. I had come from comic strips. Everything's a wackadoodle in comic strips. This was so far over my head at the time, I was just speechless. I mean, I was standing in the presence of an angel, you know.
Should we shout out the lettering here for while we're on the page?
Oh, yes, that's another thing. This is hand lettered by Charles in his Charles Vess lettering style. Every page is hand lettered on there. The only thing that has any type of paste on was a script correction and the capital letter at the start of a sentence. He had designed his own alphabet. And so he had that printed out at a local print shop, and he would cut it and paste it onto the lettering box on the left, and then hand letter the rest of it.
Well, I think we can all take a moment here in the audience and just bask in the fact that you own a complete Sandman story, and we just won't mention the price again. But it must be quite a pleasure to look up at your wall and just be able to see these pages laid out.
Every time I've had a comic book friend walk in, they stop dead in their tracks right there and stare at it for a minute. You know, it's like, oh, I need a minute. So that's how you can tell the comic book people when they walk in the house. And I'd like to invite you all to come over and take a look. We'll have a Dr. Pepper and look at the vest.
In the meantime, anybody who would like to see the story, you can look at Terry's Comic Art Fans Gallery. I believe all the pages are shown on there on this in the framed form. So let's transition over to your work now. Please tell the viewers about your new art book and where they can find it and kind of what the overall quote unquote vision is of this.
My career started in the 90s, the early 90s. And I've done a lot of series, self-published series since then. So I had a ton of comic book single issue covers that are lost to history. They're all sold out, long gone. So I had the idea, let's collect all the single issue covers into one book. And I launched a Kickstarter recently and it funded. So we're making this big fat book that has 300 covers in their full color version without the titles on there. They're running them generic so you can see the art. The titles are not covering them up. So yeah, it's the covers from every one of my books, all my single issue comics and everything, including the variants. The backer kit for this is still open. You can still go find it and get in on it. You know, when you're on a schedule with Diamond Comics or any of the solicitors, they want a cover art several months in advance. Well, when I was doing things like Strangers in Paradise, there were a lot of cliffhangers. And I didn't want to spoil it with a cover that would give it away. So I did these red herring dummy covers, fake out covers. And this covers book collects the fake out covers.
Great. Well, and people can find that on Backer Kit as of now when this is airing. Terry, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, man. I will talk all day about art. Love it. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, timing isn't everything. What are you going to do? It's still Charles Vess art. And I mean, hey, Charles Vess, he could have been the fifth bandmate for the guys in the studio back in the day. He was there with them hanging out in New York City, and it shows. I mean, he's an incredible talent. I saw, what was it? Stingray mentioned in the chat. He's got to get something. I've always wanted to get something from Vess. Vess is an incredible talent, continues this day. Saw him build a fantastic studio in his backyard through his Facebook posts over the last couple of years. I mean, he's a happy man, definitely. So schedule, we can talk about schedule now. What do we got for that? I've fleshed it out a little bit like in the lead up to OAX and at OAX. I talked to some people, so I got some interviews lined up. But this weekend I got George Genti on for an art sale show. I've got Tappan Z, his actual name is Oliver, but his calf gallery is Tappan Z. He'll be on a interview show with me next Tuesday. It turns out Anthony is going to have a return tomorrow, and I promise to keep him to 2 hours because 2 hours is my limit. But he will be on with me next Wednesday again. Got something going on with the Tulio Art Collective on the 15th at 2 p.m. I should have put 2 p.m. on there. That's a Saturday. Tom Coker is going to be joining me for an interview on the 18th. We've got Howard Chaykin, Next Comic Art, on the same day, different times, next on the Saturday, the 22nd. Brian E., sometimes in the chat, you probably recognize his name from CAF. He'll be doing an interview with me on the 25th. Then Jeffrey Moy, I don't know if that's going to get changed or not, March 1st at 2 p.m. for an art sale show, but that might move to April. I can't remember. Go back and look at my notes. But definitely E.C. Harris will be joining me on March 11th, and Ali Murad will join me on March 18th. And at some point, Ryan Sook will be back. We haven't finalized when or how that'll be, but it'll be a Hero Initiative sale, auction, kind of a structured sale. I think we did one with Ryan about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And he's ready to do another one. We just have to pin him down for when that'll be. Then our event schedule. I've got, look, oh shoot, how did I get 2024 on there? All right. At any rate, I almost have the date. I have the dates right and the year wrong for OA Expo down at the bottom. But the most important event that we have coming up is IC3 on March 15th, 2025. Thank you very much. We have 170 exhibitors that are going to be at that show, including CAF's own George Hodge will be exhibiting there, along with a lot of other indie creators. So for those of you not in the know and all that, I definitely would encourage you to check out the IC3 website and see who's else is going. I think Jim Rugg's going to be there. So several other notable indie creators, and Matt Sardo's done a fantastic job wrangling all that. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about the show in the we got a little over a month before that's going to happen, 5 weeks. So looking forward to that. I know that many people in the Northeast are interested in going to the show. I think Colin told us that he went last year. We didn't even know it, but it's a definitely a very good show. And I'm sorry, I'm clicking around on a couple things here, but yes, I'm sorry. It's at indiecomicscreatorcon.com. So I'll actually throw that link in the chat for everybody, since I'm fumbling around over here. And of course, Kazra beat me to it. So anyway, and then yes, OA Expo, wrong year, right dates. It's February 20th through the 22nd, 2026. And then of course, the next Comic Art Lives we've got are on May 17th and 18th, and then again November 15th and 16th. So IC3 will be first, Comic Art Live after that, and OAX more than a year away right now, believe it or not, which is weird to think about. So there you have it. But I've been sitting on something else for a long time, and that's a weekly flip from everybody's friend Stingray. Everybody who got to go to OAX, most everybody ran into Newell at least one time, maybe twice. If you went over to Miller's Ale House, maybe 3 times or 4. But yeah, he was everywhere and picked up some really good art, and also he definitely had a good time. Because I don't believe, Stingray, you weren't at year 1, but I know that after Heroes last year, we talked about it quite a bit, that it was always going to be on your radar. But you did a weekly flip for me, I think in December, and we just never were able to squeeze it in with all the different programming and stuff we had going on. So I do have that queued up, and it's right around 10 minutes, but it's a good one because this is your first, and it's something that a lot of collectors can't say that they've done, a complete book, a complete run on the Thunderbolt. So without further ado, let's cue this thing up and get it rolling. We add it to the stage.
Ahoy comic art fans, my name is Newell T, aka Stingray, and as some of you may be aware, I recently acquired my very first complete issue worth of OA, and I thought what better way to share it with everyone than via a flip. So today I am happy to share with you Thunderbolts Volume 1, issue number 33, which was written by Kurt Busiek, with pencils by the legendary Mark Bagley and inks by the also legendary Scott Hanna. Now, as you can see on the first page of my portfolio here is empty, and that's because while I was able to get all 22 story pages of this issue, I unfortunately didn't get the cover, and that is something that I'm hoping to find in 2025. Here we have the very first page, which is a title page, and in fact the first title page to enter my collection. Unfortunately, even though this book was done in 1999, they had already started doing digital lettering at that point, and so we don't actually get to see the title or the credits on the page. However, it is still a really beautiful splash page, and we get to see Jolt, the youngest member of the Thunderbolts, and Moonstone, who is providing her with a therapy session to help her deal with some of her recent trauma. Here on page 2, we see a flashback where Jolt explains some of her childhood, saying that she was just a normal kid. Meanwhile, on page 3, somewhere deep in the recesses of the Thunderbolts base, we see the rest of the team searching for a mysterious entity or person who has been repairing their technology and even mending their clothing for them after they go out on a mission. We see Hawkeye, Songbird, Charcoal, and Atlas looking for this mysterious benefactor to see who it is. Back to Jolt and Moonstone, Jolt recounts the events of her 15th birthday, where she was celebrating with friends when there was a sudden large explosion that was all white. And we see that the side of the building that she was in was blown clean off. And when she looks down in horror from the height of the floor that she was on, to see that it was the Sentinels. And just a reminder to everybody that this flashback takes place during the Onslaught storyline, in which Onslaught was controlling the Sentinels who attacked New York City and were fighting the heroes. On the next page, we see Charcoal and Songbird trying to get the drop on the mysterious figure in their base. Unfortunately, he's able to turn the tables on them and actually manages to knock Charcoal on his ass. And then on page 7, we have what I consider to be the money shot for this book. Bagley Spider-Man pages have been going for crazy amounts of money the last couple of years. And I consider myself very fortunate to have gotten this really great Bagley Spider-Man page at Thunderbolts prices. You have a full-body Spider-Man there and a very spidery pose. He's web-swinging and fighting Sentinels. And, I mean, what more could you ask for? And then you get some more flashback from Jolt, where we see her and her friends going into the basement of a building. The building crumbles on top of them. But then they do manage to crawl their way out, only to be discovered on the next page by the Rat Pack, a villainous gang of scavengers who are stealing anything and everything of value out of the rubble, including children, who they kidnap and take to their boss, who is none other than the Nazi scientist Arnim Zola, who experiments on the children. And we see one of the few survivors who not only lived but gained powers and would become Jolt, one of the Thunderbolts. On the next page, we see that Hawkeye wants to go after the mysterious figure that they just encountered, but Atlas has a different idea. He says, wait a minute, let's try and talk to him. And he actually says thank you to the guy for fixing all of their stuff and mending their clothing and all the other good things he's been doing for them. On the next page, we see Moonstone telling Jolt that she thinks that the therapy session should be over for the day. Jolt has relived enough trauma for one day. Jolt basically tells Moonstone that, you know, you can be kind of a bitch, but you're a pretty good therapist. And then on the next page, we see that Atlas's tactic actually worked out as the mysterious figure steps out of the shadows. And we find out on the next page, as he joins the team in their break room for snacks, that he's none other than the Ogre, who was an early X-Men villain. And he starts to go into flashbacks on this page and the next one. We find out he's the ogre. And on the next page here is a really great one. This is another one of the better pages in this book because we get that top panel that has the original 5 X-Men, and it looks really fantastic. I think this is peak Bagley here. And you see the ogre with a gun pointed at an unconscious Xavier on the ground there. And in the middle panel, we see the ogre talking with his teammates in the mostly forgotten villainous X-Men team of Factor 3, where we have the Vanisher, the Changeling, Unis the Untouchable, the Blob, and the Mastermind. That's right. And at the bottom, on that second to left-hand panel, we also get a brief little cameo of the Master of the World, another bizarre and long-forgotten ex-villain. On to the next page, we see more flashbacks. Basically, the ogre is telling the story of how Factor 3 told him to wait at the base while they went off into the world to do bad things. He waited for a long, long time. Eventually, they came back. But then in the last panel, they left again and told him to stay home and mind the base. And then on the next page, he kind of recounts the numerous villainous groups who kind of moved into the base over the years. From there, we see him talking about how he tried to come out of the shadows and make friends with some of those folks, but then they just shot at him. And he kind of hid and stayed away from people. On the next page, we see him recounting a more recent event when the then current Masters of Evil took over the base. And they had even captured Moonstone at one point, who he sneakily slipped a key to, allowing her to escape. Now, I do want to point out that on the bottom left there in that Masters of Evil panel, you see Tiger Shark, which technically makes this page Stingray adjacent. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And on the next page, we see the ogre sums up his flashbacks, and Hawkeye extends him a spot on the team, which the ogre gladly accepts because it has been years since he had encountered a friendly face. But the joyous moment is interrupted by a news alert on the Thunderbolt's computer. Unbeknownst to the team, the ogre had already set up keyword alerts, kind of like a CAF want list alert, but for bad stuff. And we see on the computer screen a massive figure
I love that.
breaking into a bank vault. And we don't know who it is until we turn to the next page and see that it's none other than an all-new Beetle in this crazy splash page. We see him in all his hulking glory, and Songbird looks on shocked because the Beetle used to be her boyfriend Mach 5, who is supposed to be in jail at the moment. So is this Abe, or is this a new person taking over the identity of the Beetle? We don't know. And on page 21, we see the ogre going back into the shadows, pondering on his possible new life with the Thunderbolts, when he gets zapped in the back by a mysterious robotic hand that turns out to belong to none other than Techno, the former Thunderbolt, who decided that the hero life was not for him and he wanted to remain a villain. And on page 22, the final page of the issue, we see Techno uses a DNA sample to shapeshift and become the ogre. And he's got a little skull in his eye because he's clearly up to no good. Now, once again, this is an end page, and the first end page in my collection. And you can even see the space at the bottom of the page, which was intended for some letters, which appear on the printed page. But the lettering states that this is the final issue by Kurt Busiek, and that with issue 34, Fabian Nicieza would be taking over the writing duties. And where Fabian walks, the Hulk can't be far behind. And that is it for issue 33 of Thunderbolts. I hope you guys enjoyed this flip. Have a great day and Happy New Year.
See, he even said Happy New Year. That's how old it was. Well, I saw that Jason has thrown down the gauntlet. He says that he's going to narrate a complete comic for what Extreme X-Men 12 next week. Okay, we're gonna hold you to that, Jason. I can't wait to see that. But hey, I see my buddy Chris Snork in the green room, ready to go. We haven't seen him in a while. We didn't get to see him at OAX, and here he is. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. I still got, to be totally honest, I do still have some like crap lingering in my chest, but I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jason's happy to see you. Snorkel.
Sorry to have missed you guys. It was a long, sad weekend. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, we when we got the bar tab afterwards, they said, "Boy, you didn't drink as much last year." And we were like, they said maybe you should start paying per drink, and I said, "No, Chris Snork wasn't here, so we're going to stick to the flat rate next year."
You got half the Scotty contingent this year, so you did okay.
Oh man, but yeah, you were missed. You know that it was I mean, we wouldn't have been able to talk a whole lot anyway, but just having you on the floor, there were so many good photos that came out of you from last year, picking up the stuff from Demio and everything. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the same show without you, but I'm glad that you're on the mend, and we will expect you back next year, of course.
I will be there with bells on. I honestly, at 4 a.m. rolled around. I was supposed to get on my flight, and I thought, should I just go? Like, should I just drag Becky out of bed and like both of us like cough and wheeze and blow our noses the whole time? And I thought, no, I don't want to be Tyler T part 2. Yeah, well, she missed you too, Kazra.
Yeah, no. I mean, she had such a great time last year. I mean, I know she did. So I know you both really wanted to come, and
OAX is a testament that Becky can have a good time anywhere because she has zero, maybe negative interest in comic art. But yeah, she had a ball.
Well, that's good. Yeah, well, you saw the dates. We're Feb 20 and through the 22nd next year. So put on your calendar, and we were looking at the weather forecast for that weekend, just this year to kind of get a feel for it. And it's like 80s every day. I mean, and it's just 80. Like, 60 is the low, 80 is the high. So we'll definitely be in a better, warmer weather kind of situation.
Let us pray. Yeah.
Yeah, please. So because there's well, we'll be talking more about next year, but there's reasons for better weather, that's for sure. Now, did you were you able to watch the best ofs on Wednesday at all?
I started it today. I haven't gotten all the way through it though.
Okay, so you did see what the trophy was? The Hulk hand. This is the oversized Hulk hand. We're getting new ones printed, so it doesn't look like it's a lollipop or something in his hand.
It's the Ang Lee Hulk.
Exactly, but I mean, it's so cool with the way Gwen did it with the veins spelling out calf on the back. It's kind of hard to see in this version here, but either way, it was fun to see. But it was like every time my uncle took a photograph of it, I mean, his camera must have just a little bit of a fisheye, and he was always like that, right? And so the hammer everything looked proportionate.
Right. Yeah.
And then I get this whole box. I mean, literally. I have a whole box.
Oh my God!
I mean, look how well he packed those. He put toilet paper rolls around the hammers and everything like that. And I get them at first when I look at it, I'm like, oh man, that's the size just doesn't work. So, but these will be, gifts, prizes we'll be able to give out all throughout the year.
There you go. Those are your no prizes.
Exactly. So speaking of no prizes, though, Gwen did all the design work on this thing, and when she was doing it, I was like, oh man, I got a cool idea. There's something that I'd like to make for somebody. And so, Chris, just for you, this is a limited edition, and it is oversized, and I'll get you one properly sized. I got you your own thing hand holding a freaking hammer as my gift to you, buddy, for all the hard work you do on the channel.
That's awesome.
When Gwen was working it, I'm like, is it going to be real easy for you to just take that Hulk hand and massage it just a little bit, give him 3 fingers, not 4? And she's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And it's even, let's see if I can I'll zoom in on me so you can see it's even textured a little bit. Well, you can't see it too well, but she's going to add some paint to it or something to make it look right. And the cool thing with these is, it sits flat on the table that way, but you can also put it on the table that way. So
yeah,
it's up to you. It's flat on 2 sides. So I will definitely, I still have the t-shirt right for you. So I will mail these out to you next week.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks to Gwen.
My pleasure, man. It was just too obvious when we were working on the Hulk can. I was like, that's perfect.
It's a big week for my guy this week.
Yeah, I know.
That trailer
Well,
came out, and everybody's
on
texting me
Wednesday.
like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And like my opinion matters, but I was pretty excited.
Of course. No, well, that's why, when I thought of asking you to pop in for the toast, I was like, because that was the day the trailer dropped too. It's like,
Yep.
okay, I got the thing hand right here. This is perfect. But
Ah,
I know you're busy. You're busy.
yeah.
Okay, Kazra wants to know, are you okay with the voice?
So, yes, and but only because I'm a big fan of the bear, and whatever Eben Moss Backrack wants to do, I'm good with it. Cousin Richie's my favorite character on that show, so yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right, cool. Yeah, I want to see a little bit more before but I thought he looked great. I mean, when they did that transition, looking in the mirror, through the window at the TV, yeah, everything about it
And when
looks
he's
great.
when he was running, I was like,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So I'm excited.
Good. Let's see. What do I got on my list here? I think before we do the calf update, I do have some art I can show off. I got 2 packages that came in. I got one from Genty, and I got something from Howard Chaykin. And it's kind of cool. I decided to open everything. I'm tired of fumbling around with stuff in front of everybody. But when I opened up Genty's packages, he actually, I figured this was going to be like a FedEx bag, but he actually prints his own logo on a bag that he uses to put art in. So that was
Cool.
kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people when they ship art, the people who've had bad experiences when they ship art always try to put, make sure your art's in a bag, because you never know if the package is going to get left out on the door and get rained on. So I thought this was kind of cool. He printed his own bag and puts all the art in it. So that was nice of him.
No. Notice the dealers and reps.
I know. Well, I was thinking about that too. It's like, shoot, man, we should be printing up some calf
branding
bags
opportunity
as
there.
well. Right. I mean,
You know
why
what
am
you
I?
could do is include one in the OAX swag bag next year.
That's not a bad idea, because all I'm doing right now is buying bags from Bags Unlimited with nothing on them. We might as well be getting a little marketing out of that as well. Let's see. Colin says it's going to be tough beating Chris Evans' performance as Johnny Storm. That is true. Every time you see,
especially the Wolverine Deadpool one. Yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, so what do we got in here from Genty? I've got we got some Ashoka pages here. I'll switch, make it a little bit taller. Ahsoka. I'm sorry, I always mispronounce, don't I? You should see it the way he's written. It's like Ahsoka, but so I don't think that she's not doing any kind of battling there. We got a Mace Windu page. See, I almost said window. Man.
If Mace Windu fought Ashoka, we'd be in trouble.
Exactly. Well, here's an Ashoka battle page with the lightsabers. I don't know who she's fighting, but got that in there. Another Ashoka page. What do we got here? Another one. Some more Mace Windu. Man, he's got a lot of Star Wars stuff in here. Star Wars. I think there's some Star Wars fans out there. Mandalorian season 2 artwork. Here's this has got Grogu and the Mandalorian and Ashoka in it, sitting around the campfire. So that's a good one.
That's a good Grogu likeness there.
It is. Some more Star Wars stuff. Extremists. I think that's an X-Men title, Jason. I don't know. But I think that's the Blob. And he's got like handlebar mustaches. That's pretty close to Kazra's mustache, as a matter of fact, without the beard. So we got that.
If Kazra and I had a son.
There you go. A Green Lantern page, something called Majestic. I don't know what that is, but I bet you Derek in the chat would know what Majestic is.
Wildstorm book.
Oh, it does say Wildstorm on the side of it. Okay.
He's the like Karen version of Superman.
All right. Well, there you go. Got something from that. Some Buffy, Serenity. Shoot, I haven't seen any Serenity pages in a while. Some more Buffy stuff. Buffy, more Majestic, and another Majestic. So there you go. That's some of the stuff we'll have on Saturday. And then Howard Chaykin, what did he do? He was like, I'm making bigger stuff, and I'm going to make it more affordable. It's something. Don't quote me on that, but he said something close to that. So let me see. What did he do? Let's see. He was always doing those odd size things. We haven't had him on the show in over a year. So there's a nice Darth Vader. Yeah, that is
Did
pretty good. It's about,
he have like a Star Wars epiphany or something? He always talked
I
so
don't know.
negatively about Star Wars in the past and how he hated doing that book and it was for kids and blah blah blah.
Right. I took the
Huh.
job. I needed the money, and
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, but this looks like it's about 7 by 14, 15. I mean, again, an odd size for him, but that's a
Nice
good.
contrasts on that.
There you go. Yeah, and that was the thing. He said he
Okay.
wanted to put more effort into it. So you can see even on that one, he did a lot of tonal work, and now he got a cap piece that he's done a lot of tonal work on it.
Yeah, great textures on cap too.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I honestly did not know what he was going to send, but he told me like 3 months ago he wanted to put more. He's like, I'm going to do more and make him priced right. So I haven't talked to him about price yet, but
Oh, very nice. Look at that composition.
he's amazing. Yeah,
Wow.
that came out great. Let's see. I got a Batman here. Looks like after a few beers, maybe hanging out on the rooftop.
He's about to give Robin a talking to.
Yes, exactly.
He's like, in my day.
Oh man. This kind of looks like a red Sonia, but yeah, I guess it is red Sonia probably. With a beheading.
Man, he went nuts on these.
Yeah, he really did. I wonder what maybe he had some downtime during the holidays or something.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean gosh, he's never done it. Oh shoot, man. I want this one.
Oh,
Look at that.
look at Ruben.
Oh my God. This is great.
The
I don't know
cat
what
hanging off the panel. I mean, he put some thought into these compositions too. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, he is, we've had him on. I mean, he was one of the first people we did a sales show with, so we've had him on probably 5 times. He's never done anything like this before.
Right.
That's great.
Tells a little story almost.
Yeah, yeah. Oh shoot. This is like the companion piece to that other one.
Mhm.
Man, what got into him?
Should sell that as a twofer.
Yeah, I think so. I'll talk to him about that one. And then we got a Savage Land Rogue, an 11 by 17, no less.
Wow.
I don't know hey, whatever got into him, I hope it stays in him. He's doing incredible work. And then there's a Magic that's next.
Wow.
I gave him no notes. I did not suggest anything to him. Oh, and a Psylocke after that. What the heck?
Look at that. Wow. Go
No.
Howie.
Again, 11 by 17. I have no idea, but Howard and I are going to have to talk because these are great. Shoot.
He's really going after the textures on that one.
Yeah,
That really reads as leather.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Really nice. Doggone, man.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, I forget the date that he's coming on. It's in March, but
Where's Chuck Arnold tonight? He'd be flipping out.
yeah, I don't know. Hey, don't tell him. What do we got here? Then he's got some smaller. These are like 6 by 8 pieces. We got a Batman and a Wonder Woman. Oh, see, he should have done a Wonder Woman in one of those other pieces. That would have been really nice. And then and then we got
great.
Got a Superman. It looks like he's eating a sandwich.
Goes with Batman's beers.
It does. It does. Well, Howard, if you're out there anywhere, you did some incredible work, and I'm looking forward to talking with you about that. Wow, that was great. Okay, let me switch.
Maybe we're in a new Chaikin window.
I don't know. Yeah, that is peculiar. But maybe his methodology and the way he works, all the panel stuff done separately and stuff. Maybe he just wanted to create some great pieces of art versus because you think about it, a lot of the commission style pieces that he's done were a lot like the panel pieces that he's done. Those segments, the characters just in a white space. So he really, I've never seen him do anything like that at all. So wow, yeah.
That shadow is haunting me right now.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, Spidey Hits. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Spidey Hits is the other channel. Remember, you want to follow Spidey Hits. You want to subscribe to his channel. He's been putting out some great videos about the show. Yeah, keep them coming. Justin, they're fantastic. He had a great. I'll tell you, one of the best quotes that I heard from a exhibitor was on Spidey Hit's interview that he did with, Kazra was there, Ranga was there, David Finch was on there, Steve was on there, and Ranga said something like, he had his best sales show ever, how many shows he's done, so it's a good show. But he said that 80% of his buyers were people he's never sold to before.
Oh,
I mean, that just shows you that that OEX is bringing in a lot of new blood to the room and all that kind of stuff, and it's a great opportunity for artists to find new clients.
Makes me wonder like how many people sought him out versus how many people like saw his stuff there. Like you want to know all that kind of stuff.
That's right. And Dan Dos Santos was in on that one too. Yeah, I mean that was a great panel post CAX. So
cool.
But again, all great things. I mean, you just keep hearing positive stuff from the show. Now we can get into the CAF update though. I got a busy day tomorrow. You know what? My daughter Emma just turned 20 on Wednesday, and Gwen graduates as a graduation ceremony at Full Sail tomorrow at 9 a.m. So it's like,
congratulations, Gwen.
And my mom flew in from Ohio.
Oh wow!
Today. So yeah, so she came in just for both things. She missed the birthday, but we're gonna do that tomorrow after the graduation ceremony. But yeah, my mom, who hates the heat, swore to never set foot in Florida because she would rather live in Wisconsin than never be here.
She missed a doozy of an ice storm today and another one coming on Saturday, and it's like single digits tonight. So she's I don't know if she wants to live in Wisconsin. Ohio's
probably
bad
not. Marcus, she didn't fly. I actually asked my mom to fly into OX. I'm like, there aren't many opportunities where I can make, show you that I've done a good job in life and everything like that. I'd love it. I told her I'd love for her to come down, and she said that she knew if she came down that we'd never talk, because I'd be too busy. And I'm like, all right, I get it. Because I'll be honest, when I was at home for Christmas, I know that I spent too much time in, working and not talking to her. And so that's when I asked her, and she's like, nah, I know we won't talk. So we got, so I'm going to spend as much time with mom while she's here. I mean, guess what? She even asked to go. She can't ride a ride. She's 80. She's 85 or 86, but she asked me to take her to Universal on Sunday because she wants to see what the Harry Potter world looks like. She's like,
okay.
I've seen pictures of it and I really like Harry Potter and I'd like to just go. I'm like, Mom,
that's cool.
You got it.
Yeah.
She never asked me to take her anywhere before, so I'm going to do that. So I've got a busy couple of days with Mom.
Look at it this way: if she didn't come to OAX, you were able to keep her away from Anthony.
So true, because if he would have found out that my mom was on the floor, she would have been,
Nope.
No, that's very, very true. But anyways, let's get on with this CAF update. We got we got a few things to talk about there, but let me see. It's weird. I mean, having 2 weeks off, I'm like totally not thinking about what I should or shouldn't be doing today. But where are we at? Well, you know what? We can't even go into the update. We got to talk about the heritage picks, which I have. The heritage picks were kind of weird this week. There was actually just some really awesome pieces, and then a lot of like, okay. The thing is, when you're trying to look for unique stuff, and you keep running into John Buscema, Tom Palmer, Avengers pages, which are good, but it's like I can't.
They're around.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to kind of pick out new stuff. So here, let me throw in the heritage pieces that I got here. So I think I picked like all the obvious stuff this week. John Byrne FF 236 page. Hey, I mean, it's a good action page. You guys, everybody's doing something in this one. So
nice price too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's from issue 236. Then I picked a David Finch, Scott Williams, Batman Dark Knight #2 page. I just thought it was a good one, good page. And I don't know what the heck is going on here with him, but it looks like he's getting smacked around. David Finch had a line the whole show.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Eric told me he waited to talk to him for like an hour and a half about a commission.
One that he was lining up or one that he was waiting on? Okay. No, that's good. I mean, it was, some people were always busy. Dennis Cowan seemed to always be busy. But yeah, Finch, boy, his line never went away. This is Jeffrey Catherine Jones unpublished piece, but I thought it was cool just because it's like half finished, right? He's got you got some of the panels are half inked, other ones are still full pencil. starting on here. So, for those of us who love process and a piece that probably won't, break the bank, if you want a Jeff Jones piece like this, I mean, hey, it's fully lettered. I don't know what it was for, something called Bedazzled. No idea what that is, but there you have that. And then this might have been my favorite piece in there. Ashley Wood, Judge Dredd magazine artwork. This is from 1995.
I remember that book.
Look at that. Man, I just think this thing is fantastic. And again, the classic, UK comic book lettering.
Lettering, yeah, you gotta love it.
I do.
So square.
Yep. Yeah, this is my favorite piece in it. So there you go. What else we got? A Dylan Burnett Cosmic Ghost Rider page. I like his stuff. I have what did I pick up by him? Ant-Man page. It's like his style. And I thought this page was kind of fun. No panel borders or anything like that. I thought
it edges into cartoony, but it's got so much life. It's a little like Riley Rossmo is kind of in that same milieu.
Definitely. Yeah, I like his stuff a lot. I gotta own a second piece. So I'll have to go check out who reps him now. Oh, he's over at I'm drawing a blank.
Hepburn?
Who is it?
I just looked at it today because he posted a bunch of FF stuff.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on it. Yeah.
All right, but and then this was kind of cool. It's funny. It's Alex Saviuk from A Green Lantern Story from 1979, but it's inked by Dave Hunt. And Dave's inks are what make it for me.
Man,
I just think, isn't this a great page? I mean, I'm not a Green Lantern fan, but boy, the art on this page is fantastic, and I think it's all because of Dave Hunt's inking.
For sure. Look at those blacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best thing about Green Lantern's costume for OA is how you get those awesome contrasts because he has the black segments in his outfit.
Right. Well, I mean, this is a good one, and it probably won't even go for a lot, $60 right now. But it's just a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Then I think I featured something from Juan Jose Rip before. This is Black Summer #1 cover. I don't remember what it was the last thing, but I mean, his style is just so slick. I mean, look at that. That's just crazy. I don't know, I don't know anything about Black Summer or anything, but I like the art.
It's very busy, but at the same time, everything's really clearly delineated.
Mm-hmm. I think you might have said the exact same thing when I showed up something about a year ago.
That's a Chris move.
I'm gonna have to go back and search because I think it was a heritage pick too. So I'll go back and see when it was out there. But yeah, there's something about the style. It's just it is so clean. I mean, man, looking at it now, that's great. This one, see, I was reaching here. This is a John Romita Jr., Joe Rubenstein, Spidey story from '95, so a 30-year-old piece. I thought, I'm like, well, there's a lot of rain action going on here. There's something that Romita Jr. draws rain really well.
Razor cuts.
And I liked it because the rain is literally pulling you around through the panels.
You're right. It gets directional.
Yep, every single time, and so he's using it that way as a tool, right from the first panel. And I thought, well, that's pretty smart. I mean, it's done exactly like you'd think somebody who knew what they were doing would do. So nicely done. And then two more pieces here. Kevin West, Silver Surfer page. I always like Kevin's stuff. It's just I like his technique, fine lines and everything. And he was, yep. Yeah, exactly. And this was inked by Tom Christopher. So, yeah, just a good page. And then what was my last pick? Oh, this was just a weird one. It's like a Punisher Spidey book, and I don't think it really.
Designer Jeans.
Does it? Do you know what that is? I have no idea. Okay, so this is Scott McDaniel, Keith Williams inks. I liked it. I kind of like the contrast to the three top panels to the three, where Spidey's obviously crawling around in the dark in a tunnel to what I can't really tell what's going on up here in the first couple panels, but you have Punisher in two of them.
Yeah, that's not bad. The Spidey stuff is fun. The good poses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there you go. There's my 10 heritage picks. Right there. Now, what do we got? I know Nick is not doing the show tomorrow, but he's having, I believe, Spencer Beck sit in for him. But we'll let Nick tell us all about that in this little 1 minute and 12-second video clip. Boy, he's being very brief this time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, this Friday, February 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Well, by the way, this is the Bombastic Flash speaking. Although, is that trademark infringement since it was the Bombastic Spider-Man? I don't know. But this Friday, February 7th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The original art experience, there's no art. I'm having a crazy week. Still dealing with all the fun of the Diamond bankruptcy, and had a little bit of a half a headache on tariffs the other day. We'll see where that goes. But Friday's show will be run by Spencer Beck, the artist choice. Please tune in. Please support if you can. It'll be a fun show. It'll have a lot of great art. It'll be a good time to be had by all. So Friday, February 7th. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The original art experience. Hit that thumbs up. Share. Sharing is caring. And we will all see Spencer on Friday. Take care, everybody.
There you go. Spencer on Friday. I saw Spencer at OAX. He seemed to be
Really?
very happy. Yeah, he sat with Bob Layton.
Huh.
In fact, I didn't see Bob Layton until the last day of the show. I honestly thought he wasn't there because I'd seen Spencer Beck.
You didn't hear him?
No, I didn't. I mean, I know I'd seen his table and he wasn't at it, but I mean, I clearly, he did some filming during there, during. So that's probably why he wasn't always at his table. But honestly, I was about to ask Kazra on Sunday if Bob showed up, and then literally I saw him. So he ran into me and he's like, "Bill, this is the first time I'm seeing you. We got to record a video clip as if it's the beginning of the show." So here we are, it's like 3 o'clock on Sunday, and he's like, "We're gonna do it right now." And
Revisionist history.
yes, he was like, "We're gonna do it." I'm like, "All right, you got it, man. I'll do my best." And I just kind of smiled and nodded through it. But yeah, Bob's awesome. Jeff Whitting says Bob was definitely making the rounds. He was. All right, let's talk about that CAF update now. We have dealer results for the week of the January 27th through the February 2nd. 186,000 for dealers, so not a very solid week for them. But they're still kind of recovering from all the wonderful sales they had at OAX, I think. But let's take a look at the top 6 sales from art dealers that we track. Now, first up, this was what do we got? Something from Anthony. Oh, that's right. I remember him showing this. This was a Dick Giordano Shazam issue 25 title page from 1976. Went for $15,000. ISIS as in crisis. Okay. Next up, The Thing. Gosh, there's a theme going on around here. Mike is selling it, says this is The Thing, the largest drawing ever, 30 by 40 inches, and it was signed twice. It makes it twice as valuable. 1978 went for $12,000. Then Berkey also sold this Felipe Massafera Resurrection of Magneto issue 4, went for $11,000. Then this is a Albert Moy sold this one. Mike Mignola Frankenstein illustration, $9,000. Yeah, that's
those watercolors get up there.
Yeah, they do. Oh, look, he's listed at $7,500. Guys, I didn't pay $7,500 for that, but that's what he listed it for that's what his asking price was. We only know that actually.
You always say asking price.
It's true. It's true in that case. And then this is Absolute Batman issue 1, page 22, sold for the asking price of $5,000 from Felix Comic Art. But yeah, no, I picked that piece up from Anthony for considerably, sizably less than that. I was like, I even have it over here. It's like, I had to look at it closely. It actually, I might have to take it over and get it like cleaned a little bit. It's got a little ripple in it, like it got a little water damage. And I was like,
sure.
And he already lowered it. I'm like, well, it's got to be lower than that because I know I'm gonna have to spend some money to fix this up. And he's like, okay. So anyway, but just to remind everybody how we get market data. Market data goes into our starts off as art for sale in the for sale table with the art or with the dealers that we work with. We sync their data live with that database. And what happens is when something gets marked for sold on the dealer side, we remove that artwork from our for sale database and move it into the market data. Now, the dealer, when they mark something as sold, can actually change the price, but the action of switching it from for sale to sold, we don't update the price when we move it out of the for sale table. We just move it out as is, because a lot of times that stuff is private, right? There's a lot of sellers who prefer not telling people that they got 10% off on it, whatever. So we can only report what we know it was the asking price of the artwork when it sold. So that's how that works. All right, so auction houses steady, 312,000 compared to 335 the week before. Let's see the top 3 eBay and top 3 Heritage sets this week. So from eBay first, they had 117,000 of those sales. We got a Ryan Otley Invincible page. I bet this was an offer and I didn't go check it. The final price on this one is $8,999.99. While I know Invincible pages are hot, I bet that's not the final price.
Yeah.
Then this one is a Popeye Daily, kind of early from 1935. $6,987 on that one. That one seems like it could be an offer too, but I know that some of those older ones do go for decent money. And then this is a good one though. Tim Sale, Superman for All Seasons, issue 2, page 36. Price on that one was $4,999 as well. Then over to Heritage, we've got a complete 6-page story by Robert Webb. This is from Journey into Fear 13, one for $22,800. Then we have it's always amazing when John Buscema. This is Alfredo Alcala ink, so would make
That's a beauty.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's from issue 20, page 46, one for $5,520. And then we have an Emschwiller. Jane would be proud to see this thing come in at number 3 from Amazing Stories from January 1962, went for $5,520 as well. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, that's gonna make her happy. I saw Sarah Jane at the show. She definitely enjoyed it. Was happy to see all the the IX and even the CX additions to the show. So things are looking up for the illustration world around here. All right, well there you go. I made it through that. So you ready for some picks? Want to talk
More than
about?
ready.
Awesome. Let's see what we got here. Swing this around over here so I can manage it a little bit easier. So what do we got here? This is Carl Choi. This piece was talked about a bit, I think, over at OAX, but a wonderful Simone DeMeo commission.
I wish so badly I would have seen this in person.
Yeah. Why can't I click on this? Well, he didn't give us a big scan, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. And well, I have to say though, the only other time I saw the image was like heavily angled shot of him holding it next to Simone, like on Instagram. So even this was better than what I had seen before. So it's got all the hallmarks of what I love about a DeMeo. It's got a pretty extreme angle on the main character, so you get like kind of a wild composition, especially in the respect that Batman is really seen in like the sort of like fiery reflection of Azrael's sword. So his best stuff, in my opinion, like a single image really tells a story. And this has that like in spades. So compared to, I think he said the prompt was Batman and Azrael in front of a church. Well, you ask for that and you get this back. I mean, he has to be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, I mean that's a beauty. I mean, I got to see a few of Simone's pre-OEX pieces. He did a great Galactus.
Yeah.
Gosh, what were a few of the other ones? I mean, they were all just spectacular. So
that's why I say, I mean, he's really, in my mind, like he's become known for like, when you become known for this level of output, how do you continue topping yourself? But he keeps doing it. Like they keep getting better and wilder and weirder, and all the cool stuff that he's able to do with his technique. Like that's just kind of part and parcel, and he's just still pushing these compositions and pushing the concepts.
So true. And he's a young pup. He's just getting started.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about this guy, man. He's amazing. And he did do a great Stingray as well, obviously.
He did. That's Newell, that's my favorite piece of yours. I know I said that in the comments, but
Yeah, no, it is spectacular. Just the Titanic, you got
Yeah.
Namor on it. I mean, I can't imagine. I wanted to see that. That would have been a cool video of getting Newell having him pick that piece up, just like
Mhm.
you when you were beaming, with your
Oh
Winter
man.
Soldier in year
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
When I saw that, I was just like, oh, like it gets you in the gut. It's so good.
Oh man, yeah. I'll have to get something. If it would be cool to get on his list sometime. So Scott Williams, the
Mhm.
amazing Scott Williams, has posted this amazing Frank Miller, Klaus Janson Daredevil 172 page.
Yeah.
Man,
It was a no-brainer. This is an absolute no-brainer to pick this. It's one of the, in my opinion, one of the better sequences from the entire run, but like this fight has so much, I mean, there's so much activity in every panel. The stuff that Miller, we acclaim Miller for is all here. The flow of the fight, like it's just incredible. And it's really small, like there's hardly anything happening in the background. It's all focused on the figures. It's all concentrated around this battle. And you're forced by like the lack of anything else happening to just go boop, 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 beat by beat through the page. And like every beat has like a punishing element to it. It just makes this fight so nasty.
yeah, and I love these like this inset here. I mean, where he's
Mhm.
throwing in an extra battle scene, and the boot to the face right there. I mean, you don't even you could have left those out, just to have these
Mhm.
single fight scenes in each of the panels, but he throws in an extra one for both of those, and it just makes the whole fight scene even more
It
dynamic.
pumps the pace.
It
Yeah.
does. Man. Yeah, that's gorgeous. And the page looks in great shape too.
Yeah.
You can see he scanned that on a flatbed, and yeah, I mean, there doesn't appear to be, a blemish or anything on it. It looks like it has a little zip in the bottom
Little
panel.
toning, but
Yep.
yeah.
Wow. Scott Williams has one hell of a collection.
So Rick makes a good comment, and I think Scott Williams says this in his description, but he was prompted to post this by the fact that there's another incredible Miller Daredevil page with an Elektra fight sequence on it that got posted the same week.
I didn't see that one. Well, okay, I'll have to check that out. Thank you for pointing that out, Rick.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, see, I did see this one. Jason
bananas.
D'Ambrosio was very, very happy when he picked this thing up.
Yeah, I've never I think it's mostly subject matter. Like Linsner does stuff that like I don't collect, and I don't, I've never been like a reader necessarily of his. Obviously, the craftsmanship, the technique, the eye for color, like everything is out of this world. But I have literally never seen a Linsner image that I liked more than this. And when he posted it, I was like, wow. And for somebody who I know is such a huge fan, I mean, I really picked this because it's such a home run for the person who bought it.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, it is. I was kind of jealous when I saw that commission request
I'm
come in,
sure.
because I lament the piece I got from Joe years ago. Was the same costume Phoenix, but not anywhere near the same caliber as this. But I'm always like, I'm gonna replace that one day. And then Jason sent that in, and he even specified, green costume is what I want. And yeah, it's a home run and a half. And Joe did great. I saw he only took 6 pre-OAX commissions, and they were all, like edge to edge, kind of like this. He really put a lot of effort into them for the $1,200 that he was charging, which
That's crazy. And this is going to look incredible on a wall.
oh yeah. No,
and with Jason, we know it will wind up on a wall, so that's good.
That is so true. Oh man, well, congrats, Jason. No, this was a beauty. Let's see here. What was the next one? Oh yeah, Steve Rude, Captain America. What price glory? Get some action here. This is a complimentary piece to the Daredevil.
Yeah, this really it's quick, right? Like everything that's happening is in the span of like a couple seconds on this page, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it. It's also, clearly it reads as like Silver Age Cap. I think it's got all that appeal as well. I think subconsciously, maybe the reason I picked this is I don't want this to be interpreted as a plug for Steve Rude, but he's been doing more instructional video type content on his YouTube channel. And I've seen some stuff that he's posting like little short clips to his Instagram, and what an incredible wealth of knowledge. And he is a huge fan of Kirby, and he talks like extensively about what Kirby was capable of, outside of comics, how he started in comics, how his approach changed, things like that. So I had that kind of, I guess maybe in the back of my mind when I picked this, because he's clearly paying tribute here on some level too, because he's doing Cap and it's a kind of a period piece, but this thing really stands on its own. It still reads as Steve Rude, which I think is incredible, because he is so good at this. He's so good at really the language of comics, and that's like all over this page.
Yeah, completely. I think there was a really nice Steve Rude, Kirby, I don't want to say homage piece up on Heritage. I was going to pick it, then I was like, we've shown a lot of the Nexus pieces of late, but it was fantastic. I mean, if he knows Kirby in and out, and this was I know it wasn't a recent piece either, whatever it was, but it was stunning.
Yeah. Well, there's a high degree of reverence.
Yeah, and I did not know about him doing some more educational videos. So I made a note of that. So he's posting the full videos on YouTube.
Yeah, have your daughters watch it, because my God, the stuff, he's forgotten more about drawing comics than most people will ever know.
All right, I'm going to check it out this weekend.
He's got a fine art background, right? And like he uses that language when he talks about life drawing, when he talks about perspective. It's really got obviously an educational, but it's got an academic bent.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm going to make him watch it. That was the other thing we got through here at the house this week. Not only was it Emma's birthday on Wednesday, but she had to submit a portfolio to get into a new higher education program at UCF. And so I went over everything with her today before she submitted it. So now we're all on pins and needles, for the next week to find out if she gets in or not.
That was my least favorite thing that I did during art school, was getting my portfolio ready. It's so nerve-wracking, and you hate everything that's in there, and you're like, why am I so bad at this?
Yep, we went through the whole thing today. I literally I had her change a couple pieces, and she didn't trust me, but I'm like, trust me, these are the ones you want to have in there. And so it'll be my fault if she doesn't get in. But yeah, it was fun. But I totally get it. And it's fun watching the kids kind of agonize over their futures.
Yeah,
I remember because I did the same thing. You did the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? Jim Aparo. So what is this? An Outsiders page. Oh yeah, it's
a Aparo Giordano.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what's not to love, right? Batman, it is so. Aparo and Giordano both had such a knack for being able to have Batman emote when actually Batman had feelings. back in the 70s and 80s, when he had feelings, he wasn't this like stoic monster from afar. But they had such a knack for making him appear at least vaguely human. And he's not feeling well on this page, and it shows. And to see him kind of like crumbled in that last panel. The staging in that panel is so perfect, but having the outsiders who kind of view him as their drill sergeant / mentor, whatever, kind of crowded around him at the bottom, all concerned. I just think it's such an effective, emotional page.
No, I agree. You're right. I'm telling you, one of these days I'm going to own a Jim Aparo Batman.
Yeah.
Anything. The more I see of his work, and you're right.
I know exactly what I want, and I know I'll never find it. So my first comic that I ever got myself was an issue of Brave and the Bold, and it was Aparo, and it was Batman teamed up with Nemesis. And I'm sure you're not a DC guy, so you don't know who Nemesis is.
I don't know the characters. No,
he's a very D, F tier, kind of only appeared in those types of books character, but that for me is the absolute quintessential Aparo Batman book. And there are a couple pages on CAF, and I've messaged those guys and said hey, if, when, like whatever, and they've both been like jog on.
Oh man, well, whose collection was this? I didn't even look before we loaded it up here. Peter F, a new member of CAF.
All
Fantastic.
right.
And hey, this might have got. I could probably check and see if this was posted from the app. I bet you it was, because it's a photo. So cool. I've gotten several emails from people that, they've said, I was waiting for this day. I refused to post anything to CAF until I had an easier way to do it. And the app is certainly, making people convert. So I'm happy, very happy with that. Oh yeah, Ron Garney.
This
Now,
is nuts.
Oh, Gonzalez. That's right. All right. Yeah, and this is a big scan.
Right?
My God, I can't even. Yeah, I've got to zoom back out of this thing because that's not going to work. Can we try it this way? There we go. Wow.
Yeah. I'm such a sucker for when you like jam pack like 1,000 characters onto something, but I've never seen Ron Garney do that. So like, I don't even know how you have this conversation with Garney to say like, hey, here's what I want. This is a commission first and foremost. Like this is a commission, which is wacky, but it's kind of like the equivalent of that Simonson we talked about a couple weeks ago, right? It's like, hey, can you put every single effing character you ever worked on and add a few more? It's got the Civil War theme, which is a perfect kind of like backdrop for the rationale behind the commission. But I'm just not familiar seeing Garney do this kind of stuff, and I think he killed it.
He did. And Antoine, I just checked. It's 42 by 17.
Yeah, the way everyone is wedged together is like really, really well done. Like Hulk coming in like huge from the side there is so effective for the overall composition. Hawkeye up in front there looks like terrified, which I think is perfectly appropriate. Yeah.
Oh man, Matt Ballmer just learned that we have an app. All right.
Hey.
Get in there and use it, Matt. Yeah, it's the light version of CAF right now, decaf we're calling it, but it's got some good stuff going on, and I saw my first push notification in on the test app today. So we haven't rolled it out to the rest of the beta testers, but it needs some formatting and stuff, but it was cool to actually see it work. It's like, wow, this is going to be even better once these things are in place. But yeah, this Garney piece is phenomenal. I mean, you're right. It's totally unlike anything I've ever seen him do. Okay. And Alex, man, he's as a contrast, 20-year member, Alex Gonzalez. What do we got now? Dale Keown, Mark Farmer. This is in our pal Simon. He definitely has a thing for this period of Hulk artwork, and this is fantastic, and especially just with the way he's when I looked at this, I keep getting drawn to the way he's handling the shadows on his feet and his arms from this grate that he's standing on. I mean, this is just a great pose, and
that's like one of the quintessential Smart Hulk images right there. And that's really why I picked it. I gas on about Keown all the time. So like on some level, I feel bad picking a Keown piece, but like this is peak period Keown. This is when he was like really making waves. He was crushing this book. The only time in my entire collecting life where I was regularly purchasing the Hulk off the stands was this run with Peter David. And that right there is like the perfect Smart Hulk image. It's that or the bunny slippers.
Right. Oh man. No, this is great. And I'm quite certain that Simon was thrilled to add another Keown to his collection, especially this one. But I saw I saw Simon a couple times during the weekend, and I never really got to have a long conversation with him at all, but he was everywhere.
I saw pictures of him drinking with my pals at Miller's Ale House.
I saw him in the bar. I saw him in the hall. I saw him at the VIP reception, and yeah, I mean, we said hi once or twice, but yeah, it's 2 full days is not enough time to kind of say hello to everybody and have something meaningful. But this is also in Simon's CAF gallery. But you had to pick this one, right? This is Arthur Ransom.
Look at this
from
thing.
2000 AD. Dang.
Look how tightly rendered everything is. The flat coloration. If it's it's watercolor, maybe it's gouache. I'm not sure. It definitely has a gouache look to it with the tone, but the transparency looks more watercolorish in places. Maybe it's a mix. I'm not sure. But I absolutely love how tightly rendered everything is, how like overly rendered some of it is. So the kind of Apocalypse Now pose there with the knife blade, he's really going after some of those lines. The piece with the underwater shot.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking.
Those poses on those figures are so watery looking, if that even makes sense. Like they appear to be underwater, especially the guy in the blue has that like, oh, I'm kind of like floating look to his pose. I mean, this is just phenomenal illustration. Take comics out of it.
Right. No, it is. I mean, yeah, that the underwater panel is crazy. I mean, he's really captured what it feels like. I mean, you're right. He's made even the figures kind of just distorted enough.
Yeah.
This is the way you'd see it. No,
it's got like a filmic quality to it, like a cinematic quality to it. I love the crazy panel, the crazy panel shapes too.
Right.
That one panel is just blood, so you know what happened to that guy when he was underwater. So good. It's the pacing. It's like I absolutely love this page.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. He didn't write a lot about it. Professional killers trying to kill other professionals as part of a game. What's not to love? So true. Huh. I'm not familiar with the story, but love the art.
Mm-hmm. Also feels very British.
Yeah. Yeah. What is Antoine says? Ransom uses extensive reference, hence the film-like quality. Okay.
Checks out.
Yep. Mike Hernandez. This is an interesting pick for you.
Well, I love the use of light here, which the kind of the title of it says it all, right? But as far as a landscape goes, this is it's so blocky, it's so impressionistic. It's very, there's tons of like just shapes, like there's some of this was definitely painted with fat brush, palette knife, like all those kinds of really impressionistic tools that you can get away with when you're so good at this kind of thing, that I was just really taken with how not loose this is, but like how, again, I'm going to say it again, how impressionistic it is. I mean, this is just suggestions of what you're looking at, but the way it's lit and the palette like makes it all like really read as a beautiful landscape.
Yeah, no, it's very nice, and it's an Artless Artmore's calf gallery.
Impeccable taste on that guy.
Yeah, nope, I agree. What was it? Rick Welch said it's a thing landscape. That's
what it is, Rick. You got me with the damn orange rocks.
How observant, Rick.
Yeah.
Let's see. What we got next? Oh, Steve Crow. How does Steve Crow keep getting the good stuff all the time?
Albert Williams, I'm hating him now too, though.
Because he just gets. I don't know how he does it. I mean, look at this thing. It's beautiful. I mean, he gets the best of the best examples of anything he goes after. Man,
it's just like so emblematic of what was happening in strips at the time. To say nothing of like how beautifully inked this is, how creative it is. I mean, conceptually creative it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like if you were gonna say like, hey, AI program, show me a 60s sci-fi comic strip, and like this is what would be spit out.
Yeah, no, this is that's great. I'm curious. What did he? Oh, he didn't write a whole lot about it. All right, Sunday sci-fi. Huh. Well, Steve Crow just adding to his amazing calf gallery over and over again.
Beefing it up.
Yeah, if you're not following him, you should. If you're premium, you should be watching his calf gallery because he never fails to impress. Let's see here. Where's okay? So there's my picks now. So good set as always, Chris.
No, thank you. I loved this one.
I did too, and I was actually so set on bidding on this one, and I chose not to, and it's probably for the best because I would have probably bid it up to like 1,500. I liked it that much. It was so nice, and great to see in person. Um, yeah, and Peralta was somebody that we really wanted for year two, right? I mean, he wowed everybody like 2.5 years ago when he did those mystery sketches, and
Yep.
uh, he's just been so busy he hasn't done them ever since. And I think we've all always had him in the back of our mind as somebody that would be a good fit for the show. And yeah, we were so happy when he accepted, and he had a lot of different circumstances with which to get to the show even, but he was still able to get there. And for this to be the piece, and I didn't see this till like the day before the show practically, I mean, or maybe it was, well, definitely was the last week, but either way, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
I love the different like chroma that he has going on here, where you've got it's purple and red, right? Because you've got Sentinels are purple, Magneto's got purple, Sentinels have red, Magneto has red. Blue is a really super smart choice, but like the different chroma, or the different like saturations that he did here to separate Magneto from the Sentinels in the background, really, I think is what makes this pop.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was a good story too, because Andre won the auction. I know that Steve Davich really wanted it, and they made it work out. Changed hands, went to the right person, and I couldn't be happier for Steve for picking this thing up. But yeah, I loved it. Because you look at stuff like this, you can commission Peralta to do a Magneto, right? Maybe
Sure.
even call him Magneto with a Sentinel. Is it going to be this piece? Sometimes it's fun to roll the dice, and sometimes it's great to get a commission that's pre-done that's as fantastic as this one. So
yeah, I mean, you don't, with a commission, to your point, you don't really know what you're going to get, right? But when you see something like this that's fully realized and it's still kind of in that same price range, that's a big win.
yeah, no, without question. It looked great. We had that big screen TV as well, this year to kind of help everybody in the back see, and it just looked great. Seeing it, practically 6 foot tall up on the stage. Yeah, it was great. So congrats to both German for making this thing, and or Herman, sorry, and for David for being the caretaker of it, because boy, oh boy, did he he knocked that one out. Now this next one, I picked this one up. This is, I guess it has an OAX tie because I know that Chris picked it up there, but I just figured, yeah, we know it costs a lot of money, and we know that we know how popular the book is and all that, and it's in Chris Galacki's calf gallery, and hallelujah, it wound up with a guy who we know appreciates things of value, and he has a wonderful eye, and I did not. If I would have known, I didn't know that he picked this up until after OAX, because I think I saw a picture with he and Felix, right?
Yeah, same.
And I would have loved to have gotten to see it, because Nick Dragotta was one of the few people that I actually went up and thanked, because it's just with the way everything was so busy. I just told him that I know that he had lots of options. He could have gone anywhere, done any other show that he would have wanted to do in the country, and I just said, we're so grateful that you came to our show, and
that's cool.
He thanked us. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's special, because guys like that, because I think he's isn't who's the writer on the book now? Blanking.
Scott Snyder.
Snyder is at MegaCon right now. So I mean, there's no way they didn't invite Nick to go to MegaCon too, but he still chose to come to our show. I mean,
maybe he's synonymous with OAX. I got the Pompadour Punisher last year, and then Chris picks this up this year.
So true. And he did a really nice Daredevil.
I saw it.
You saw it? Yeah.
A couple people took pictures and sent them to me and said, look what he did for the auction this year. I was like, well, it's not 11 by 17. It's not Punisher, so I'm cool.
Yeah, exactly. But it was good though. And it went for, I forget what, $27.50 or something like that. It did really well. But hey, Felix has him on. I don't know. I think that he can do whatever he wants with Felix. Nick's in a great spot right now with his future. So
well, I absolutely love the geometry on this piece.
Yeah,
the layering on those buildings, and like the way he chose to separate them with those patterns. You know, they still read as buildings, those still read as windows, but we all know that they're just, you know, shapes and lines, right? And he gets a gradient in the same process of laying out those patterns that I think like really increases that separation, while at the same time like makes it look dense, like makes it look Gotham-esque. And his figural work on this book is just like, I don't make a secret about the fact that like Batman for me needs to be like, I want him to look like a brute. And Absolute Batman is probably the most brutish looking Batman outside of Dark Knight. So like I'm a big fan of this design. I love the way he's executing the figural work on this book, particularly on Batman. But yeah, this has got it all.
It does. Carl says it was on display at Felix's booth before Carl picked it up. I didn't.
I would hope so.
I didn't get to see anything. Felix actually had a pro panel back wall. I don't know if he used it, but no, I did not. I did not get to see this one in person, so I regret that.
Antoine, I like to think if it's Conan was Batman. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that is. I like that way too. Looks like an auction hammer. Oh yeah.
There you go. Next year, it's the Ab-Bats bat symbol for the hammers.
Oh, good. And now Casper says he did use the pro. I'll have to go back and look at some photos because, and it's funny. Felix's booth was this thing you saw when you walked in. I can't think of looking. I looked at the tables. I don't recall looking at his back wall. I know Tatiana
He was in the same spot.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, when you walked in, his booth was right in front. But we had a pro panel back wall for him with Tatiana on the opposite side, and I know Tatiana had hung some artworks on her wall, and we kind of made we gave everybody kind of tools to do it when they had a pro panel. But yeah, I didn't. I know there's bound to be plenty of photographs from his booth. I'll have to see what he did. Cool, very cool. But one thing I wanted to say is that we do have swag bags left over with the portfolios the prints in them. We printed some stickers. I've got the auction paddles, and we actually have quite a few T-shirts left over. So I haven't quite yet decided. I think we'll probably do like we did last year for just really the price of shipping. We'll be happy to ship out stuff because we can actually include a T-shirt in it.
Maybe tuck one of those in that box you're sending me.
What size? What size? Large?
Large,
okay.
Large.
Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that. But I'll let everybody know. I honestly finished. Really, I just finished unpacking from the show yesterday because Mom was going to be here today. So I haven't given it a lot of thought about how I'd want to distribute those. But we'll come up with a way. And anybody who'd like to get the swag bag and all this stuff inside it, I'll take photographs of it, and we'll find a way to just make it really affordable, 30, 35 bucks, whatever. You can get a shirt and all the stuff, and I'll ship it out. So, but give me at least a week to figure out what that'll be.
Let him spend time with his mom, everybody.
Yes, exactly. Any Berkey Banks left? There's only the one, man. And trust me, Mike is very disappointed that I didn't give it to him. I've decided I'm keeping it. I mean, come on, Gwen made that. I mean, I should have Gwen sign it, and it's going to stay. And she painted it even. It's fantastic. He's not getting that. Then this was a Eastman Laird Ninja Turtle piece. I mean, I just think these are fun to see. I mean, a little bit of history.
I mean, these are so, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, no, I can't click on it. Doggone it, I forgot. Yep. But yeah, I just think just seeing a little bit of history when you get to see stuff like this. I love the style, and
it's so primitive, but like we look back on it so fondly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm just blown away by it. The more I'm looking at the lettering, I mean, everything on this thing is it speaks of that period of comic books. What is it, Bill? Is there a lot more comic books? I don't know, Antoine. You're using the app and you're seeing more stuff. That I know. Is there a lot more AI signed books? I mean, I don't know. Are there? If things are only signed, you can use the app to report things, Antoine. On every art detail page, we were required to put a report button on it, so everybody can become a site editor technically. If you see people posting things prints and comics can be posted if they have a remark on them. If people are only posting things that are signed, we
also
probably
let me
What's
let
that?
me just let me soapbox for a second,
Yeah.
because I wanna say to everybody who's paying attention, when you're posting stuff to CAF, if you mark it not safe for work, I'm never gonna look at it. And I know deep down in my heart that people are either mistakenly or misguidedly posting stuff that is not safe for work as not safe for work. I will never look at your art if you post it not safe for work.
And I have to say that I'm pretty much in the same boat because
I don't have the time. I can't click on every single, like, I gotta go by thumbnails.
right, right. And I leave it on partially just because from an editorial standpoint, always want to make sure it's working right. I want to make
Sure.
sure that so that when I do, because think about it, if I had that turned off and I was actually seeing the thumbnails, I'll be freaking out if they didn't have it locked. So
Right.
I want to know stuff is locked so that when something is egregious, it stands out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very true. Yep. Yeah, that's possible. You never know. And it is by room only right now. I mean, it's always been that way. Just because in the past, people always ask me why did I do it that way? Because people would create folders early on, and they'd use the gallery room name would be not safe for work or nudes, whatever. They felt they were doing things in a way that was segregating pieces from their collection. And so at the time, I thought, well, then we'll just make it so you designate that at the room level versus at the piece level. Now, looking back on it, I mean, because why? Because at the time, this is 2 or 3 years after CAF was out there, you got guys with 50 pieces in a nude gallery. Did I want to make all those guys go back and edit 50 pieces to set everything to not safe for work, or did I want to give them one way to do it by the room? So I chose that. Regrettably, I mean, I look at it now and it probably would have been better to do it by piece. 22 years later, you always
Yeah.
you learn from your mistakes.
Hindsight.
Yes, Carl says he was born not safe for work. I don't know what that means, but I probably don't want to see any pictures from that day one first appearance of Carl Choi. All right, where are we going to after this one? Whose collection was this though? Oh, Mr. Miracle. We featured a few pieces from Mr. Miracle. Next up, Swamp Thing. This is I just again it's Veach and Alcala. I just think this was just a cool page.
More importantly, it's Grundy.
Right, exactly. I mean, I love and again, the layout of this thing is cool. I love those 3 inset panels, yeah, that are skewed like that. I just think that's, again, they could have been they could have been squared off and it would have been fine, but I might not have picked it if they were.
I get that. Yeah, it's Veach is all about texture and like that tractor at the bottom. Wow.
Right. I mean, that's almost the thing that made it, because when I saw that and I saw the inking on that, I was like, all right,
Yeah.
that's a badass tractor. I don't know
You ever
why.
seen a cooler looking like tow hitch in your life?
No, not at all. I mean, it's organic practically. I
Yeah.
mean, the mud on the tires. I mean, it really was the panel layout and the tractor at the end that made it for me. And you're right, it's Grundy. That was funny. I was looking at everything around the character, and I didn't realize, as dumb as it sounds, I didn't realize it was Grundy until I just had to really focus on it, because I was like, shit, this is even better. Oops, sorry. Yeah.
You're not hurting me.
Yeah. I've dropped a few F-bombs over the last
This
6 or
is
8
the
weeks.
only time of the week that I'm not swearing.
This is the only time I try not to anymore.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thought this was a great piece, and
love it.
yeah, me too. So here, let me get the like on that one. All right, next up. This one was just fun. Ernie Cullen, Gary Martin inks. This is a Blue Devil page. I just love the action in it. I love it from the way it's just kind of, it's almost like a dance, the way the characters are interacting. I just love the second panel, third panel. That's like a Daredevil, Frank Miller, sequence there. All throughout it, I just love the flow of the page. It's looking at it now. You get back from it. It just it has a rhythm to it that I just loved it. I mean, other than that, I can't say what what I like about it, but the rhythm of this page is beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all movement.
Yeah, we're focusing on that. You had a couple now. Yeah, I've had a few in here too.
But
And
this
a
is,
tractor.
it's really clean too. It's like, it's a, like, yeah, high energy, clean. I mean, a little like edging into cartoony, but still, very clearly like comic booky. Yeah, there's a lot to like. This was a fun book back in the day. I mean, I was really young when this was coming out, but the character was so distinctive looking. Like he didn't look like his costume, like whatever, didn't look at like anything else that was out at the time. It had kind of a Ditko feel to it. I remember at the time. This does a little bit too, but
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Definitely in the way, the focus is on the character. Yeah, very
the
much so.
openness of the line. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot. And I went to my high school was the Brunswick Blue Devil, so I actually picked up a couple issues of Blue Devil. I'm admitting it right now.
Yeah.
For that reason. All right. Oh, then over at Rob R. Rob R. He very happy man. Got all the Cosmic Ghost Rider covers. This was just
What a
one
wild
of
achievement that is.
it is. It could totally. You know what I mean? And everybody, that's it, it's such an impossible thing to even imagine happening. I mean, everybody knows Rob is the Cosmic Ghost Rider guy, like Stingray's the Stingray guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just things like this, because you have to get collectors to let go of stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's not an easy thing to do. Rob's not the only Cosmic Ghost Rider fan out there.
Right.
So
I even have a couple pieces.
right. So the idea that he was able to get through all this, get all the covers, I mean, it's a remarkable achievement, and we don't see too many remarkable achievements in our hobby because they're usually unobtainable. So I commend Rob for his perseverance and quality. He has a really good eye too. I mean, the other pieces I've seen him pick up are fantastic. He has this nostalgic pieces that he has in his collection, but this takes the cake. I mean, anybody who's been to Rob's place, if you go to Heroes and you get lucky enough to go hang out in his gallery, you get to see some of these pieces in person. So, congrats, Rob. It's a milestone in collecting when something
A
like
huge
that.
one.
Yep.
Yeah. Good work, Rob.
Yep. All right. Next up, I got 4 more here to look at. George Pratt, Enemy Ace Commission. George Pratt just killed it. He just did such an amazing job. He took on, I don't know, I mean, I know he got around between 12 and 15 pre-OAX commissions, and I don't know if he's ever done that before, taken on that kind of level of work in advance of the show. And every one of them, I got a Wolverine, and it was phenomenal. I know Jason got one too, and just everything I saw that Pratt did was.
I'm floored by this.
Yeah, I don't think surprisingly, I didn't show the Wolverine. I'll have to. I don't know where. I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, yeah, it's in here. But yeah, again, this thing. I mean, Lee had to have been like, "Oh my God!" The moment he saw this thing, because it's totally there. We're not. He's just playing around with shapes here.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty flat. It's pretty monochromatic in that respect, but the tones, yeah. And while the lenses absolutely pop too. Like the one place where he veered off, those lenses.
Just adding in that little touch of green in there too. But
The
either way,
facial expression though, man.
Right. I mean, oh my gosh.
Hell's hammer.
Well, Pratt, yeah, there you go. Lee says he was blown away. I mean, yeah, George just did such great work, and his booth space was fantastic. He was set up next to James Martin. I got to walk over and talk to them a couple different times, and they just had a great time all weekend. And they were both working like crazy. And yeah, now if the next time Pratt comes to OAX, could be next year. I don't think we haven't really worked out schedules or stuff. If he does pre-OAX and you're going and you don't get on his list, you're a fool.
Yeah.
Because
look at those. Look at the brush strokes to define the fur on the collar.
Yeah. I mean that's just crazy.
And they're really like effortless. Like they're thick and thin. Like they're fat. They're dashes in places, and it just like it absolutely reads as that like furry collar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, congrats, Lee. You got one of the better. I mean, there's so many good pieces to come out from the show, but this one caught my eye immediately, and I was not going to not feature it today. This is another This is because I gotta, I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I know there's thing concept art, that's out there
Mhm.
by Plug and everything.
Wrightson or yeah.
Right, right, and so we've seen a lot. Let me get my like on this one. Steve Yar, she was at OAX, and he sent me just a nice text after the show saying, that he's always been looking for something from this character design wise, and he never
Mhm.
expected to find a piece that was as finished as this. And lo and
It's
behold,
really, yeah, it is really like well formed.
exactly, and it's So again, again, I don't know. He didn't tell me which dealer or which rep or whatever dealer he would have gotten it from. I don't know if Berkey had it or Albert had
I
it or
would guess
whoever.
Albert.
Yeah, I would.
He's such a
Yeah, you're
Plug
right.
nut.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But again, the idea that you found something that you never even thought you could own at the
Yeah.
show. It just we got a really good mix of
I
sellers.
I have to say, like, I'm not
Oh,
shilling, but
look at
I have
that!
that.
Not even. Steve's in the chat.
Oh
He said he got it
wow,
from Jim Warden.
Warden.
Now that I would never have expected.
Same.
Well, that's great because Jim, he didn't have a booth last year. He set up with Wagner at a
Mhm.
table, and that was Jim had a mission. He was one of the early exhibitors that reached out and was like, I want to have a booth next year. I want to upgrade. I want to be able to bring. He didn't say his quote was, I want to bring more of my rep artwork. And we were like, great, we'll give you booth space. We'll let Matt Wagner have a booth right next to you. It'll be perfect. And it
Mhm.
was. But I mean, the idea that he brought, gosh, I was just so jealous that
Yeah.
I didn't even stop by. I don't even remember seeing Jim on the floor. I saw Wagner, but couldn't look to my left just to see Jim standing there. Anyway, Steve, this is awesome. Really
Great
great
pickup.
piece.
Yeah. And wish fulfillment. That's very
Mhm.
cool.
Yep. Oh, that's right. You were literally, so you could have just like leaned over and looked at all the portfolios. What did you do when you saw this, Steve? We'll have to have you on for like a 5-minute segment. You can tell us the emotions you went through in seeing the piece right next to you and then picking it up. That's
The
great.
the thing is one of those movies where when I find out somebody's a fan of the thing, I'm like, oh, we have shit to talk about. Because like this movie's in my top 10, like easily of all time.
Right. Steven says it was mocking him all day.
That's so good.
Uh,
Look how tight the head is.
yeah. Well, congrats, Steve. That's awesome, man. It really is. I think yeah, anytime you can get something that you just weren't expecting, it's always a great thing. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful. We will talk at Heroes. Good. All right. Well, I got 2 more pieces to go over here. Ron Lim, Infinity Gauntlet. I pass up a lot of stuff, but I do like Ron Lim's stuff, his work a lot. And there's just something about this page. They're just well constructed. Just made. I don't know. It's something about the middle panel. Something about Gamora in the last 3. I mean, and then you get a great shot of all the heroes in the top panel. It was just something good
Mhm.
about it that I liked. But again, I usually skip over the Infinity Gauntlet stuff because there's just so much of it out there, and usually in the same kind of collector's hands. And I don't even know whose gallery in here. Oh, Esra is okay. So anyway, just a good piece. Well, I look at so many things on Heritage every week and so much stuff on CAF that sometimes I just am happy and impressed with a page that's kind of simple,
Yeah.
but good.
The funny thing about these Infinity Gauntlet pages are you had so many like splashy, like there were so many like, oh wow, there's a huge image of Thanos. So when you
Right.
get interior pages, there's so much exposition and there's so much that needs to happen like in the pacing that the panels do get like frequently they're pretty packed.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of words and like whatever. And this page definitely has that, but like Lim's strength as a comic artist in my mind is his cleanliness, like the level of definition that he gets. Like it's not painterly, it's not rendered, it's not whatever. Like he is like, okay, yep, that's the Hulk, yep, that's Thor, yep, that's Gamora. Like you never question what Ron Lim is drawing.
Mhm. And yeah, Joe's inks are really nice on this too. So all right, well, it's a good one. Get my like on there and go to the last piece. What did I pick? Oh, Newell. Well, Newell gets
Yes.
mentioned several times tonight. Craig Hamilton, one of my favorite illustrators, and
Love Starman.
Right. I mean, look at this. This is just so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. You know, I don't know. His inks are like woodcuts. It's
Yeah.
like burr on steroids, and then he just packs these panels with just so much detail. I mean, I love this panel.
And he
That's
was oddly complimentary to Tony Harris because a
yeah.
lot of the, those like wedges that like Jack's forearm there in that bottom panel, like that's very Tony Harris-ish,
Hmm.
or like Stelfreeze does that. Like those Gaijin Studios
True.
guys were doing that. And like it fits in here. But at the same time, it's like this is very clearly like Craig Hamilton is not like working outside of his own playbook.
Yeah, no. I mean, looking at the rain on just the technique handling that kind
Mhm.
of stuff, the rain on the windows. I mean, this it's so chiseled. I love
Such a
this.
great book.
Wow. I love Hamilton's work, man. I really do. Sometimes, I love his black and white work. Sometimes the colored work doesn't hold up the same because his black and white is just so good. But
This is
yeah,
so
this,
cool too because it's got Michael, it's got the Shade and Jack on one page, and like they're all kind of in their own, they're in their own setting. So from that standpoint, as a fan of the book, like this page is an absolute home run.
yeah. I'm just looking at this the work here in the back with the shadows and the light on the
The negative,
back
like the
feathers.
cutout.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing. I mean, I could stare at the skull and the shadow on the top of the bookcase all day. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so cool the way he's done this.
And actually, now that I'm looking, like the candle, look at all the directional lighting that's in the negative space.
Oh yeah, and I don't really see. I don't think I
That's
see any white.
great.
I'm looking for white out too.
I
You
don't think
know,
so.
that's a lot of forethought put into these illustrations. I mean, I don't see any white out.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Level of planning, right? I mean,
Wow.
whew.
Well, you did well on that one. Noel.
But that's a great pick, Bill. I'm like really happy you picked that one.
All right, so it's not Stingray. I'm sorry, guys. It's not Stingray. Or it is Stingray. What am I saying? Now,
Yeah.
you know what? I need to take a nap. I think I've
You
had
can
a
just
long
go to
day.
bed. It's 11:30, Bill.
Oh shoot, man. Yeah, it's been a bit of a day. But Newell, I don't know how you do this, man. You've managed to pick up so much great artwork in such a short amount of time. I feel like since Heroes of last year, yours is a gallery that we can look forward to see what pieces you're picking up. And you've certainly, you've had good fortune in some of the pieces you've picked up. You've had some great commissions come through, and it's been a wonder to watch. You're in my watch list. No, hey, you've earned it, and that's awesome.
Yeah, this
And I
is
think
a great page. And Newell, if you ever decide you need to get rid of this,
that's one on your list. All
call
right,
me.
cool. All right, man. Well, we made it through. Look, it's 2.5 hours. How do we do
Early.
that? Yeah, that's good. I mean, I felt like I had a lot of stuff to go over today. I didn't think I figured it was a midnight for sure.
I
But
think you kept it moving.
yeah, well, here's to you, man.
I'm excited.
That was
I'm going to set that right here so I can look at it while we're on the update.
good. Yeah, no, I thought that was fun. I mean, if Gwen's in the 3D program, I might as well get her to do some extra work while she's
Yeah,
fiddling around in there.
And if
But
your uncle gets overburdened, hit me up because my brother has 2 resin printers and an FDM printer, and they are all state of the art.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, I will.
All this miniature wargaming shit you see on my table back here, he prints
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
So you just pick up some of the models online and just send them the stuff to print.
Just grab STLs off. Yeah,
That's awesome. Well,
it is awesome.
okay. I will make a note of that.
All right.
So, Chris, as always, man, it's fun. You were missed, and but I
Good
know
to see you. I haven't talked to you. Well, I've talked to you, but I haven't seen you in 3 weeks now, so it was fun.
I know it's crazy. That's totally wild. But we'll be back at it next week. And again, enjoy your weekend. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thanks, man. Good to see everybody. Cheers.
All right. Get the thing, take over the thing. I don't know, Joe. Anyway, yeah, it's been a long day, long week, but again, I feel great, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with my mom for the next couple days, taking her to Universal. I'll make sure I post a few photographs of us in Diagon Alley on Sunday for everybody to enjoy on Facebook. I can't imagine what my mom's gonna, she's been a Harry Potter fan ever since the books. So this is going to be kind of cool to take her to something that she normally wouldn't have the opportunity to ever do. So it's going to be fun. But thank you all for hanging out with me for this 2.5 hour show tonight. I appreciate it. There's going to be a lot of things that we'll be talking about over the next few weeks. Some of the early thoughts going into 2026 for OAX, but most importantly, IC3, which is just, gosh, I mean, is it 5 weeks away? So it's coming up. But we're going to have some programming specific to IC3, just to kind of promote some of the artists that are coming in there and give you a good idea of what the philosophy of that show is. I think it got a lot of legs, a lot of opportunity to promote artists that many of us don't get to see too often. So I think we're going to be, we integrated the indie artists into the last Comic Art Live. That there's going to be more of that in May as well. But yeah, lots of great things on the horizon as it relates to CAF and working with indie comics creators. So look forward to that. Other than that, I have a show on Saturday. That's the only time I won't be hanging out with my mom this weekend, is when I do a show with George Genty. That'll be at 2 o'clock. Probably be about an hour-and-a-half show. We'll do a little interview, and then I showed the art earlier. We have about 20 pieces of art to show off, mostly from Star Wars. So if you're a Star Wars fan, tune in on Saturday at 2. Jeff Wedding, he's a fan of Star Wars. He picked up some nice Star Wars art from who did you get that from, Jeff? Brian Thies, right? I think he picked up two really cool looking pages from Brian at OAX. So congrats on that. I mean, you just never know what's going to show up at the show. Anyway, have a wonderful night, everybody. I will see you again on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.